Audio check 1, 2, 3. Checking, checking. It's a very warm welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing YouTube channel here tonight. We are back for the GT3 Championship here on ACC on the PlayStation 5. This is round 3 of the season at Watkins Glen, and we have currently got the Tier 2s out on the track in front of us right now. We've got 20 drivers on the track here for the Tier 2s, which is not too bad, a lot better than we had last week. We had 17, I think, on track for Tier 2 last week, so we're expecting, I think, 20 for Tier 2. Hopefully we'll hit the 20 mark for Tier 1, but we might be a bit short. But it'd be good to get 40 plus drivers turning out across both tiers here tonight. That's always the target, to get 40 plus, so if we can do that, we're doing well. But I want to say a big warm welcome back to everybody in the comments. Andrew and Kev Sim here chiming in here. During the Tier 2 qualifying session, you've got Andrew there voicing his support for Shelton, who, as far as I know, if my memory serves me correctly, I don't think he's actually raced here. I know that he's been in the server. I know he's been eagerly awaiting and anticipating his debut for a while now, but I think it might actually be his first appearance on the channel here, unless I'm completely forgetting something. So yeah, welcome to AJ Shelton here tonight. He's been messaging me on Discord. He's been enthusiastically asking some questions behind the scenes, and yeah, he's finally getting his chance here on the track here tonight in Tier 2. We've got Andrew definitely getting behind him. We've also got Kev Sim in the comments saying, good luck, guys. Kev Sim will be out on track a bit later on for Tier 1 as well. Also races with us on Wednesday nights in the Sprint League, so he gets plenty of track time over the course of the week, and yeah, he's back here tonight as well. I've just seen that unfortunately we have once again seemed to have lost Fierce Mars. So Fierce Mars has been having problems with his connection all night, and he has once again had the same issue. I know that Tony Zero did something which appears to have sorted his problems out. So Fierce Mars, if you look on Discord in the PS5 chat, Tony Zero has put what he did. I think he did a reset and restarted his internet. I don't know if that is an option for you, but it could potentially be something that might work. If you are watching the stream now, this, you might not be. But if you are, that could be a way to counter the issues we're currently experiencing. We've got Andrew in the comments saying this is his first race. It is, Dad. Got you to add before the season starts. Yeah, I know he's been around the Discord. I know he's been in the server for a while, but yeah, hasn't had a chance. Whatever. It's always been the way. I think there's always been a reason why he couldn't race before. Obviously, last week Easter Sunday, I think he wasn't able to make the first round either. So yeah, he's out there at the moment. He's currently in P4 at the moment in this session. Diego's currently setting the pace on a 45.7, the man who had the pace in Hungary last week, but had a bit of inconsistency, and that was really what plagued him over the course of last week. He would have definitely had the win if he hadn't have had such a difficult and sort of error-prone race. But once again, he's doing what he did last week at the Hungary Ring, and he's setting the pace here in qualifying. He's half a second clear of this man here, Kodalungu, who's doing an absolutely superb job here so far tonight at Watkins Glen. He's only half a second off of the provisional pole time here, being set by Diego. So Kodalungu obviously he's raced a couple of times in the last sort of season or so here at Motive. He raced at Paul Ricard for the Sprint League on a Wednesday for the opening round of this season. He also raced at Kota last season in the GT3 Championship, and he also raced in the season opener, I think, this season, I think, in the Tier 2s. I'm not very much mistaken. I think he was racing in the opening round of the GT3 Championship Tier 2 here a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, he's been a sporadic performer recently here on the PS5, and he's looking to really take off here in this season. I think he's struggled so far with the PS5 version. Hasn't really been up there fighting like we used to see him in the PS4. But so far, He's currently looking a lot closer to the pace than he has done in recent times, so he's clearly clicked with the PS5 version of ACC and is starting to get a bit of confidence here, as we see half a second off at the pace. But Kodlungu, he's actually a former champion here at Motive. He took the championship, was it in the GT3 or the GT4? Or was it a second? He might not actually be a champion. I could be an infactual there. I'm pretty sure that he's been in a championship fight, but I don't know, he might have actually not won a championship here. I'm going to have to look at the Roll of Honour to tell me the answer to this, because I actually don't know. I know what it would have been if he did, but I think actually I might have to eat my words there, because I think he might have been second in a championship. So I'm just having a little look. Let's hope that it actually says it here. Yeah, I think he came second in the GT4 class when we did a multi-class series on the PS4 to Ryan Ruby. So I think he's been in a championship battle. I know he went into a decider, but I think he came second in that season. So but nonetheless, I mean, he's a driver who's always up there, and yeah, great to see him back out on track anyway tonight. We've got spur time. He's just gone into second place, moving ahead of Kodlungu provisionally on the front row of the grid so far in this qualifying session. Jill Silverine comes over and goes P4 for the time being. So a nice up there from him. You've got Eric Code and Shark Azulu both in the pits, so I can't imagine they're going to be improving in there. You've got AJ Shelton just going through the middle part of the lap. Luke Van der Streets is just coming through the S's up the hill. So it looks like we've got a driver who's rejoined us once again. So there's a few drivers who are in and out of the session here, struggling I think with connections. Fierce Mars is back in, so let's see if he can stay in this time. Totally Zero's in the comments. He's struggling to connect to the server, but he is in the comments tonight. Hi, he says. Hello, welcome, mate. Also got Kangi there saying like button smashed. Good luck tonight, everyone. Hopefully we have a clean race here, Kangi. Hopefully also Tier 1 goes well for you later on, mate. Be interesting to see how you get on. We've got Gila Chris in the comments saying good luck to the Tier 1 guys, Tier 2 guys, I think you mean. And Robert Rolonsky there in the comments says, will be a tough day in the office today. I reckon so. It's a track which most ACC players aren't too familiar with, Watkins Glen. I mean, the patch, the update, the American track pack came to the PS5, I think in January, was it? December or January? So I guess they've had plenty of time now to sort of get up to scratch with it. You know, I would have thought that most people would have given it a go. Obviously, Kota we've done a couple of times actually already. We've done Kota twice in the last 2 seasons. As Diego improves his lap time there to a 45.2 and goes nearly a second clear of spur time. So Diego absolutely flying here tonight. But yeah, we've done Kota a couple of times. We're still yet to do Indy, and this is actually the first time we've done Watkins Glen. So I reckon, actually thinking about it, Kota's the only track we've done from the American track pack. We've done Laguna Seca, not in the PS5, but on the PS4 we've done Laguna Seca, but that's not actually part of the American track pack. That was actually part of the Intercontinental GT pack, which came out back in late 2020, I think it was. So yeah, this is the first non-Kota American track pack circuit that we've raced at here at Motive on the PS5, which is exciting. And obviously later on this season we'll be heading to the Brickyard Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That will be the season finale here for the GT3. And obviously what an awesome backdrop that will be for a potential championship decider, but certainly for a final race that will be a very exciting situation. I might do that one at sunset as well. That would be quite a cool little backdrop, wouldn't it? To race at Indy as the sun's going down at the end of the season. You know, bit of a orange sunlight. I don't know. I don't know why. It just sounds atmospheric to me. It just sounds like a good idea. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Seeing the cars go around there. But nonetheless, we've got Robert saying if you're struggling with connection, he's saying to totally. Before you start the game, do the internet connection test on the PS5. It should help. Yeah, it usually does. It just resets everything. Resets your PS5's contact with the server, which can always refresh things a little bit. As we see Diego coming over the line and doesn't improve on his provisional pole time just at the moment. Kessim in the comments says thanks for the support comments last week, saying to Robe, obviously, as Robe was giving him support there in the chat. But we've got 13 people currently watching the stream. Guys, if you are enjoying, please do hit the like button, as it really does help us out an enormous amount here on the channel. If you guys want to get involved in the GT3 Championship here at Motive Racing, then feel free to head over to www.motiveracing.com and join the Discord server. Get involved in the racing on the PlayStation 5. We've got racing on the PS4 as well, but not on ACC, unfortunately. We race on the PS4 on Project Cars 2 and F1 still, because obviously those games support cross-platform between the PS4 and the PS5. The ACC PS5 version, which is really the only version that I'm interested in playing on now, only supports PS5 and does not support cross-play, unfortunately. So that means that we are kind of only catering to the PS5 masses at this point. But then again, lots of people are moving over to the PS5 now. It's becoming I think the PS5 probably more people on the PS5 now than the PS4. I think we're kind of now very much in the grip of it becoming current gen, sort of like. Yeah, I don't think the PS4 is going to be sort of relevant for much longer, if I'm honest with you. But here we are then, guys. It looks like that's the session done here. So everyone can finish off their final laps that they're on here at the end of this session. As we've got Zilla Bang there in the comments saying, looking forward to this, could not go faster than my 146. That's error code there. Does a P7 lap time, which is not bad at all. Very, very solid there from him. But looks like Diego's going to be the man on pole position for the second week in a row here. Spur time's got pretty close, to be fair. You can't knock him. He's got very close there. Only 0.3 of a second separating Diego and spur time. So spur time could be maybe the driver to keep him on his toes here. Cordalunga in third, only just over a second off the pace as well. Jill Silver and Shelton in the pits. Sharkazulu is out there. And Sharkazulu did take the W in the opening week of the season at Spa, so he'll be looking to be extra motivated here to try and get back on the winning trail after obviously last week's disaster at the Hungaroring, where he retired on lap 1 of the race. Could not have been a worse sort of second round when you consider how well the first round went. But nonetheless, we're going to stick with him here as he's coming through the final. Oh no, he hasn't pitted. No, sorry. So here he comes through the final sector, through the third to last corner. Running a bit of a curve on the exit, but staying off of the grass, which is crucial. And it keeps flicking to error code for some reason, so I keep thinking that he's retired to the pits, and he hasn't. The director's just automatically switching to error code for some reason. I'm not actually pressing anything. But Shark Sudi coming up towards the line. Can he improve on P7? He's 1.3 seconds off of the pace, and he does improve, and he improves by 4 places there. Only 0.4 of a second gain, but he gained 4 places, such as the closeness of everybody pretty much, all the way from... Well, let me see. I mean, from 3rd down to 7th, or from 3rd down to 8th, only half a second separating them. From 3rd down to 14th, you've got just over or just under a second from 3rd down to 14th. So I tell you what, the battle for the podium places is going to be absolutely electric here tonight at Watkins Glen, and I reckon that the battle at the front between Diego and Spur Time is going to be an absolute cracker as well. We've got 17 of you currently watching the stream here live on YouTube tonight. Well, please do smash the like button if you guys are enjoying what you're watching. If you want to get involved, go to www.motiveracing.com. And as I say, it's all free to join. You've got racing on ACC on the PS5 on Sundays and Wednesdays. We've got racing on Project Cars 2 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and also F1 on Fridays. They're currently racing on Monday or Saturday, so those are our off days. That's the days when I get my vocals back, when I can save my voice a little bit and regain some of my my marbles. Just kidding. But yeah, it's awesome to see so many people racing out on track tonight, and it's awesome to see so many people in the comments as well. We got Robe saying Diego should take my spot in Tier 1 today. Do you know what was unbelievable last week is that it was Diego's time was actually, I think, only about a tenth or two off of Tynus's pole time last week at Hungary. So, you know, Diego his raw pace is unbelievable, but his consistency is not the best. Diego, I've got to say, I've got to be real with you. You know, I can't lie. If you can get on top of that, you know, you don't even need to be pushing. Your pace is so quick, you don't even need to be pushed that much. You just need to make sure you don't make any mistakes and bring it home. And you know, you should be picking up wins or at the very least podiums. But yeah, we've got Raki in the comments. Good evening all, he says, his usual introduction there. Welcome along, Raki. Good to see you as always, mate. And yeah, also Raki said he might be joining us for Tier 1 later on. He is a reserve for Tier 1. He can't always make the races. Whenever he can't make the races, he usually supports us on the stream anyway. So we always see Raki in some form. But My favourite version of Raki, I've got to say, you know, I like him in the comments. I do like it when he's giving us support on the stream, but I prefer seeing him on the track. If I'm honest with you, Raki, I can't lie to you. I prefer seeing him on the track than in the comments. So, you know, if you want to be on, if you want to get on the track, then you're more than welcome to. But obviously, it's lovely to see you as always, giving us the support. And we've got Zillabang in the comments. Erico saying good luck spur time. Totally Zero says so close from third down to 4. Yeah, down to 14th. Third to 14th. There was a second, less than a second, separating 12 cars. So it is really, 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 really tight in that sort of section of the leaderboard here, but we're just starting the formation lap here to get going for round 3 of the GT3 Championship here at Motive on the PlayStation 5. So it'll be Diego who'll be leading us to round ahead of spur time, but obviously those two separated by 0.3 of a second in the qualifying session just gone, so they're quite close. And then, as I said, from 3rd down to 14th place, there is nothing, it's a hair between the whole lot of them. David's a little bit further back, but he's got Lexi, Polito, Chris, Tunde, Exteron down in 20th. So I don't actually know what happened to Exteron there in that qualifying session. Has he not driven the track before? Maybe that could potentially be the problem there. But yeah, definitely not the kind of standard that we expect from Exteron, that's for sure. So close from 3rd, yeah. Warm feelings, mate, says Raki. Bless you. We can see spur time here, getting his tyres nice and warm here, just behind Diego. And obviously, in fact, it was actually Diego who actually dropped behind spur time. So he's obviously, I don't know if spur time's putting him under a bit of pressure, or if maybe Diego's just playing a few games here. Is there a bit of tactics here? Are they trying to get in each other's head before we get going for this race? Spur time's still yet to take a win here at Motive. He did come tantalisingly close last week to getting a podium. But in fact, no, did he get? I think he came second actually. Did he come second or did he come third? I think he did actually get a podium. He came quite close to a win actually, because we obviously saw Diego making mistakes and dropping down the order, and yeah, we just saw a lot of people running into trouble, and spur time was there to capitalise. And I think he came quite close to taking a win, but it was Experon who actually was able to take the win in the end. I think it was, because he managed to get ahead of spur time, and he had the pace over spur time last week, I've got to say. But this time out, spur time really is knocking it out of the park with his pace here. So it's going to be all about whether he can put Diego under enough pressure and force him into the mistake, which we know that Diego's got in him. We know he's got a mistake in him from time to time. Shark Zulu, Totally Zero, Codlungu there in P5, a prominent position for the start of this Tier 2 race. I'm looking forward to seeing Cod back in the fold here, back in the fight for a podium place. This is where he belongs. This is the real Codlungu. Since he came onto the PS5, he's been a shell of the man that I used to know, who raced on here on PS4. But tonight it seems like he's rediscovered some of that. Maybe just got to grips with the different physics and found a way to set the car up here on the PS5, which he maybe hadn't had before. And yeah, could be a real contender here tonight, that's for sure. But yeah, here we come in through the final few corners here of this formation lap. It'll be Diego to get us underway. As Cod there, very wide onto the grass, coming out of the third to last corner. Feeling the pressure a little bit probably. He's in a good position here to do some damage. Hopefully not hopefully not literally. But here we're coming through the penultimate corner now. And you can see that spur time been out pulling alongside Diego. We're going double file here through the final two corners, and then out onto the start finish. And the start finish line, a fair way down the straight, so you've got a fair way to go once you're out of the last corner. It's not like you're out of the last corner and then you're away. You've got to go down about, I reckon it's probably about 600-700 metres from the final corner to the start finish line. So they've got a fair way to go. You can just see in the distance there, that's the start finish line. And yeah, here we are then, round 3 of an 8-round season here for the GT3 Championship at Motive on Assetto Corsa Competizione here on the PlayStation 5. And we're green, we're racing now. Down towards turn 1 we go, and Diego gets a great start, and it looks like Sharka Zulu didn't get a great start, did he? Oh no, he did actually. He's got a better start here than spur time. Looking down the inside, thought that Sharka Zulu had been jumped by somebody there, but he's still running in third place. Spur time holds on there to second, and Codlungu's got Luke Vanderstreets looking to his outside here, as they're almost side by side, but Luke Vanderstreets has to tuck in for the time being. But it's Diego from spur time, Shark Zulu, Totally Zero, and Codlungu the top 5. No changes in the order between those guys. Jill Silverin still just ahead of AJ Shelton. Well, actually, AJ Shelton's dropped positions here. He's dropped down to, I think, 12th place here, so he's gone from 8th to 12th. So it's not been a great opening lap here for AJ Shelton. Haven't actually seen what happened to him just yet. Haven't been able to deduce what's gone on there. Codalungu's looking around the outside here of Totally Zero. He might leave himself vulnerable to a counter here from Luke Van der Streets, who's attacking on the back of him as well. But for the time being, it's a clean first lap from everybody, and the whole pack is still on the back of each other. So no dramas, no incidents, no damage on any of the cars. That is what you call textbook driving here from all the guys here in Tier 2. And it's currently Diego from Spur Time from Charles Kazulu, as these three have just broken away a little bit from Totally Zero on this first lap. And Luke Van der Streets has got ahead of Codalungu here up into P5, so that's a move there for position. As Luke Van der Streets looking to consolidate this one coming into the next corner. Codalungu's now looking down the inside of Luke, but he's also got pressure from Jill Silver in now, as we've got side by side in the background between Nath and Ericode. Nath trying to get around the outside of Ericode, left the inside for the third to last corner, and is he going to be able to keep it there? Ericode there sees him on the inside. Nath, I think, has got the move done, and yes, he has. Nath moves himself through up into 8th place, so beautifully done there from Nath J. Fletch. Snoopy behind them, ahead of Remster, followed by Shelton. There's Carl Marley running in 30. Ahead of Day 2, Nate Chris there running in 16th. Exeron has made up 3 places on this opening lap and is up into 17th place at the moment. Then you've got Belito ahead of Fierce Mars and Leximate running at the back in P20 at the moment, but the gap at the front is already opening up between Diego and Spur Time, as we can see there. Nathan's right at the back of Jill Silverin as he goes a little bit wide there. Just Jill Silverin. Nathan trying to come back at him there. A bit of contact there between the two of them as Jill Silverin getting pushed out wide. Nathan squeezing back through here into 7th place. So yeah, good move there from Nathan. He's now up on a couple of positions from where he started at the beginning of this lap. Now Jill Silverin's got to watch out because Ericode's also got a run on him as they're coming down towards the chicane. Here goes Ericode looking to the outside. You can see Jill Silverin has to tuck in because Ericode's got the run. Running outside, oh, Nate loses it there in the foreground. Gets sideways and gets a tap there from Snoopy, who is making his way through. Nate J. Fletcher losing out there also to AJ Shelton, as AJ Shelton has got somebody on the back of him as well. Who's that? Is that Carl Marley battling there with him? I think it may well have been. Yeah, Carl Marley there squeezed through ahead of AJ. Oh, and Nate hits Shelton in the back there. Oh dear. And whereas Nathan's up in all of that, he's gone from 7th down to, oh, he's off the track and he's got damage. And Nathan's seemingly stopped the car. He's clearly not happy with something. And he's looking like he's shaping up for a retirement here in the early stage of this race. So Nate J. Fletch with a nightmare at the start to this race. Oh, what a shame there for Nate. He might be able to carry on. Let's see whether or not he picks himself back up again, dusts himself off and goes again here. But yeah, that's not gone to plan at all here in round 3 of the season tonight for him. But we've got plenty of comments coming in here on the stream. It's been an electric first couple of laps and I haven't been able to read them. But we got Kevston voicing his support for Spur Time here in the comments, currently running in 2nd place, weathering the storm here from Sharkazulu, who's putting him under tremendous pressure. As in the background here, you've got Codalungu attacking on the back of Luke Van der Streets here, coming down towards turn 1. Luke defends the inside, but the BMW, it's BMW versus BMW power here, coming around the outside. Codalungu's going to go very wide onto the marbles there, out of turn 1. Luke will get that position back, no dramas there for him, and stay on to P5 for the time being. Shout out to Shark Zulu in Spur Time, says Raki. Jazzman, little dab there from him. Hello Andy, welcome back to you, mate. Good to see you back on the channel again. It's been a long time actually since we've seen you in the comments. But Jazzman, our champion of the GT3 Championship here at Motive, taking a season out as he's visiting relatives at the moment in his homeland. But good to see him in the comments. Always Codalungu gets sideways there going through the chicane, and Luke Van der Street's looking on him, but he can't get it done and has to tuck in for the time being. But Codalungu there with a huge sideways moment there going through the chicane, but clinging onto it for the time being, as everybody else kind of just battling right now. You've got Spur Time here with Sharkazulu absolutely hassling the back of him at this point. Luke Van der Street still putting the pressure here on Codalungu. Remster here is on the back of Jill Silver, and you've got Snoopy and Carl Marley still battling. Shelton's actually closing in on these guys as well here. Plenty going on right now in the early laps, as Nate did actually bring it into the pits in the end. Oh, and Kev's in there reminding me to reset the Tier 1 server. Thank you, mate, appreciate it. Someone's always got to do it. I always forget, it's tradition. I can't ever remember to reset the Tier 1 server. So yeah, it's tradition. So one of the Tier 1 drivers always has to comment on the stream reminding me to do it. So let's restart the Tier 1 server now. Let's make sure we don't restart Tier 2 because that will ruin the race that we're watching in front of us. But yeah, currently Diego leading the race here as he's about to complete lap 3. You can see there Spur Time still weathering this storm from Sharkazulu, who's all over the back of him as we're starting lap 4 of the race. He's looking to the outside, but Spur Time there's going to cover it off coming into turn 1. You've got Totally Zero in the background just ahead of Codalungu. There's Luke Van der Streets just keeping ahead of Ericode for the time being. Couple of seconds back to Jill Silverin You've got Remster there just ahead of Snoopy, AJ Shelton there in the background ahead of Carl Marley, followed by Exeron. There's Day 66, a little way ahead of Fierce Mars running in P15. And then you've got Chris, Alexi Mate in the background ahead of Belito running in 18th place. And Tunde here has got damage on the car. I haven't seen what's happened there to him, but that is some hefty damage on the front and the rear of the car. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him coming in, especially considering there's no pit window, so there's no downside really to coming in early unless you're planning on doing a half-tank strategy. But then again, if your strategy's basically gone out of the window if you've got damage that bad. But in the meantime, you've still got Shark Zulu on the back of Spur Time, still hasn't been able to find a way through thus far. Kodalungu's still right on the back of Totally 0K as these guys are coming through the middle part of that right now. 18 of you currently watching the stream, smash the like button and show your appreciation for the drivers right now. Guys, what a show these guys are putting on here as Totally Zero still weathering this pressure here from Kodalungu really nicely. Error code with Luke Van der Street's right on the back of him, but no change here between these two either. The gap at the front between Diego and Spur Time continuing to increase, so Diego may, I mean, touch wood, you know, may have got on top of his consistency issues, but it's very early on in this race, and there is still a very long way to go, so God knows how it's all going to pan out, but we can see right now you've got still this battle going on with second and third places. Shark Zulu very wide there, going through the penultimate corner. Paul Vidler there in comments there, giving us a thumbs up for the server reset. Kev Sim there, chuffed to bits to see that the Tier 1 server is now up and running. But here we come into turn 1 once again. Totally Zero just ahead of Kodalungu. There's Luke Van der Streets and Error Code there going through turn 1. Snoopy just about within a second of Remster right now. There's AJ Shelton there in 11th, ahead of Carl Marley, followed by Exeron and Day. Who's that on the back of Exeron? That is Nathan. So Nathan's obviously a lap down, having come in for an early pit stop, but he was stationary for quite a long time, and he did have damage. So I don't think he's going to figure, even though he's been into the pits already. I don't think he's going to figure in this race, just down to the fact that obviously he was stopped for so long. But I just don't think there's any chance of him being in a position to fight for any good points here in this race. And Tunde's in the pits, so he's finally getting that damage repaired, which I said earlier on, he'd be silly not to get fixed because there's no mandatory pit window. You can pit any time. Oh, it's caught looking around the outside of Totally Zero, but can't get it done. Totally Zero covers him off for the time being. That was close there. He was looking, but he couldn't do it. And Totally Zero continuing to just stand tall to all of this. Everything that Kodalungu's trying to throw at him, he's not faltering at all. He is just standing up and saying, no, I'm not bothered by your pressure, Kodalungu. You know, I'm not going to make a mistake. Don't you worry. I've got this under control. Shelton here still on the back of Snoopy. You can see just under a second between those two at this point. But in the meantime, Diego's still leading the race, 3 seconds clear of Spur Time. Chalka Zulu, I think, has made a mistake because he is now well behind Spur Time, and we've lost the driver from the race. Who have we lost? We've lost 2 drivers from the race in quick succession as well. Oh, is it Totally Zero and Fierce Mars? I think it is. Those two, I don't know what it is. Well, I don't know what's going on with them two, but they keep disconnecting. It's happened it's happening time after time after time tonight. I don't actually know why. I don't think they do either, to be fair. Hopefully you guys get on top of whatever that is, but it seems to be the same issue that's plaguing both of you because you're both disconnecting at the same time every time. So it's really quite bizarre. But yeah, hopefully you guys are able to get on top of that before the next race because yeah, we need both of you on Wednesday. But right now, Cod's still leading this battle for third place, which he's actually obviously he's now third with Totally Zero disconnecting and Fierce Mars as well. So that's really frustrating there for those guys. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's a shame really, obviously for them because they don't get to race, and Totally Zero is driving a really strong race here as well. But it's one of those things you just can't really control. I'm sure they'll be able to get to the bottom of what it was that's causing it. But maybe you've got to reinstall the game, rebuild your server database. I don't know. That was what they were saying on Discord. Potentially could be the way forward. We've got Lou Van der Streets here defending from Error Code, coming to the end of the little back straight as Totally Zero is back in the session. So hopefully he'll be able to carry on. Well, he'll be able to carry on where he left off, but he'll be having to start from the lap that he was on at the time. Now, if he managed to start, lap 5, or if he managed to start lap 6 before he disconnected, then he will actually start. He'll actually only be a lap down, so he can get himself out on track as soon as possible. Saying that, he needs to get himself out ASAP here, because currently the lead pack have just come round to start lap 7. But if he managed to start lap 6 before he disconnected, then we might be seeing him maybe gain a few places, because generally you see a handful of cars a lap by the end of the race. So I don't know. It could be a possibility here for him to regain some places. But in the meantime, Diego's still leading. There's Spur Time running in 2nd place. Now with a big gap back to Kodalungu. Shaka Zulu. Oh no, Shaka Zulu. He was running in a battle there for 2nd place with Spur Time, but he's picked up a stop-go penalty whilst he was in the pits. Oh, Shaka Zulu. That's going to really hurt his race, because he's got to come in and do a stop-go. It's not just a drive-through. He's got to come in, stop in his box for 30 seconds. It's basically doing an extra pit stop, essentially. So that is going to shoot him in the foot royally here in this race. That is going to be very debilitating indeed. One little... actually, I don't know how long the pit lane is, because I don't know when you come off the limiter here on ACC. I know on Project Cars 2 you come off the limiter before you round the bend, but I don't know if anybody who plays ACC, because I haven't raced too much on this game. I commentate, obviously. I've been commentating on this game for probably about 3 years, but I don't really race on it that much, and I've certainly never driven Watkins Glen on ACC, so I don't know whether or not you come off the limiter before you round the bend. But I know on Project Cars 2 you come off the limiter before you go round that right hand bend around turn 1. But I guess if you come off the limiter before the bend, then technically it's quite a short pit lane, I would say, on balance, compared to most pit lanes. I don't know, it's hard to say, isn't it? But I wouldn't have thought it'd be the longest pit lane in the world, not by any stretch. So in the meantime, Kodalungu's pulled out 3 seconds to this battle here between Luke Van der Streets and Erico, and Jill Silverhead is right on these guys as well now. Remster's not too far away either, so this could be a 4-way battle here for 4th place here, looming on the horizon. But Kodalungu is looking very good as best of the rest here so far. He's currently 5 seconds behind Spur Time. I say best of the rest. I wouldn't say Diego and Spur Time are on the same level. Actually, I'd say Diego's maybe just got a little bit in hand over Spur Time. But then again, we could be seeing Spur Time full tanking it and Diego half tanking it. That's actually a theory that I think isn't that much of a crazy one, and I'll tell you why. Because there was only 0.3 of a second separating those two in qualifying. But if you look at the pace so far in this race, Diego's been on average lapping about, I'd say, 0.8 a lap quicker than Spur Time. So where is he gaining that half a second? For me, my theory is that he's probably gaining that by having a lighter car, by running a half tank, compared to Spur Time, who potentially could be running a full tank. I don't know. This is all me just making theories in my head, but I reckon that could potentially be the case, as we have lost another driver here from the race. Who have we lost? Oh, wait, what's happened to Kodalungu? Oh, Kodalungu's dropped down to 9th, so Kodalungu's dropped it somewhere. Oh no! So Kodalungu, who's running in 3rd place, he was driving an absolute crack of a race, and now Erico's running in 3rd, so that's dropped him down a position, a lot of positions. We've lost totally 0 again. Fierce Miles never joined back. Nate is still going, bless him. But we have definitely lost. Oh, we lost Toonday. So we've lost Toonday, totally 0, and Fierce Miles from this race. So obviously we started with 20, we're now down to 17 here. But yeah, they're the drivers that we've lost so far in this Tier 2 race. I'm just going to quickly go and turn the light on because it is getting a bit dark in here. I swear it's earlier this time than it was the last couple of weeks. Maybe my sensitivity to darkness is just getting a bit worse. As in the meantime, we've got we can't go and turn the light on yet because we've got a battle going on here. We've got Remster looking to the inside of Luke Van der Streets into the chicane. He's going to get a one move done. He does get it done, and Luke gets in the space there. Good driving from both of them. Remster up into P5, and yeah, can now focus his attention up the road on Jill Silverhead, who's only a second clear of these two running in 4th place. I'm going to quickly go and turn the light on now because it is getting dark in this room. But yeah, currently this you can see there that Luke Van der Streets is trying to come back at Remster here. It looked like he's trying to, but Remster still holding on to that position which he's gained for the time being. And yeah, P5 there for Remster at the moment. Codlingu is closing up onto the back of Snoopy and Shelton. As Cod there throwing a feint to the inside on Shelton, but he's nowhere near close enough to send one there. Going to the end of the back straight. Sorry guys, I just became incapacitated due to a particularly violent hiccup, but right now we've got Remster still running in P5. He's got Luke Van der Streets there with Snoopy in the background. There's Shelton ahead of Codalungu, so we've got 5 cars here separated by about 2 seconds at this point. Bolito in the pits here at the end of lap 9, so he's coming in to make his mandatory pit stop. Still a little bit away from where you're going to be seeing the half tankers come in. Half tankers will probably be coming in from about, I'd say, minute 25 onwards. With the full tankers, you never know when they're going to come in, because they can come in literally any time and it doesn't really affect their strategy in any way at all. So it's going to be about whenever's convenient, whenever kind of makes sense, I guess, whenever their rivals aren't coming in. Try and get some clean air, try and get the laps down and try and get the jump, whether it's the overcut or the undercut. But right now we're watching Joe Silverin, who's got Remster within a second of him. Luke Van der Street's there running in P6. There's got Snoopy now eyeing him up. He's I assume his teammate. Remster's already got ahead of Luke, so Luke will be seeing another DGR tag in his rearview mirrors very, very shortly, you would imagine. Which is probably not what he wants, considering he just got passed by one. But Shelton and Codalungu both bringing themselves into this battle as well. And to be fair, Cod is actually he's in this train of cars which is battling over P4, so he's running in 9th. But you can see all the way from 4th down to 9th. There's only about 3 seconds covering them, so it's really close actually. And this train is actually only 2 seconds behind error code. So Cod in effect is still in a fight for the podium here. He's only 5 seconds off of P3 at this point, so it's certainly not out of the question for him to bring himself back into that fight. Obviously he's made the mistake, he was running in third earlier on and then he dropped it, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't rule him out of a podium here in this P2 race tonight. But currently we've still got Diego leading the race by 8 seconds right now ahead of spur time. Spur time there, fairway ahead of error code. Jill Silverin running in 4th place, has got Remster still pressuring the back of him at the moment as they're coming through the S's. You've got Luke Van der Street's there running in 6th ahead of Snoopy. You've got side-by-side action here. Actually, as Codalungu, I think, has got the move done there on Shelton. Yes, he has. Codalungu through the S's, they go up the hill. And that's Codalungu up into 8th place. The timing board's still yet to update, but unmistakably that is the number 83 there, ahead of the 23. And yeah, that's now updated there, so job done there for Codalungu. In the meantime, Remster still on the back of Jill Silver, and if they're coming through the never-ending right-hander in the middle sector. But a race still on, very much so. In the 4th place, Jill Silver heads this train of cars. So I'm going to try and just get them all coming through that same corner. Ah, looks beautiful. But yeah, currently these guys are dropping off of error code. So error code is some clean air, is pulling away from this train of cars. Doesn't look like any of them are close enough to make a move at this stage. Totally Zero saying the internet connection also didn't help. Hopefully, I say hopefully, I mean obviously not hopefully, but at least if it's your internet you kind of know what the problem is, so you know it probably won't happen again, or probably won't happen every time. It's when you don't know what the problem is, that's the most frustrating part, because then you don't know, it's just unpredictable, isn't it? It's horrible when you don't know what it's going to do from one moment to the next. But yeah, currently Jill Silver in here, running in 4th place, still ahead of these guys. You can see Codalungu shaping up a move here on the back of Snoopy. Is it going to be a 2 moves in 1 lap here for Codalungu? Down the inside he goes into turn 1, and Codalungu gets it done there, beautifully done there from Codalungu. This is the Codalungu, he's back again, he's back with a bang here tonight. It's great to see Codalungu fighting it out, having some good battles here, because I tell you what, he's been out of sorts the last few times I've seen him racing, but he seems to be really getting in the thick of it here tonight, and up into P7. Still not out of this battle for the podium places. Is Snoopy going to be able to come back at him into the chicane? No, he's not. So Codalungu there up into 7th place. 17 of you currently watching on the stream. Guys, if you are enjoying, as I said before, please feel free to hit the like button and show your appreciation for the drivers out on the track, because they are putting on a fantastic show here tonight for us viewers here live on YouTube. And if you want to get involved, be sure to go to www.motiveracing.com as well. You can join as long as you're on the PS5 and you play on ACC. You can join up the leagues and you can get involved in what you see in front of you. Also got leagues on Project Cars 2 on the PS4 and 5, and also F1 as well, which is PS4 and 5 crossplay between the two generation platforms. Getting closer and closer to the back of Luke Van Streets. Into turn 1 we go, but he's just a little bit too far back at the moment. Still can't find a way through at this stage. But obviously he's knocking on the door of Luke Van Streets. He's only just got past Snoopy and Charlton, so I say that, but there's no, you can't really expect him to be making moves straight away. Here he goes though. Kodalungu now side by side here with Luke Van Streets, down towards the bus stop they go. And then goes down the inside and gets another move done here. Does Kodalungu 3 places now in the space of 2 laps. Oh, Luke gets a bit of a tap there. Or did Cod lose it by himself and maybe Luke just taps him as he was starting to lose it? I'm not sure. But Kodalungu survives and gets that move done just. But Luke's still trying to pressure him and to try to get that position back if he can. But Cod now into P6 and will look to try and chase down Remster running in P5. Jill Silver is 3 seconds behind Error Code, but he's keeping the gap to Remster quite solid at the moment. Cod is actually matching Error Code despite having been in traffic and having to make overtakes. So I reckon he could have the pace tonight for a podium position if Kodalungu can play his cards right here. And that would be an absolutely fantastic result if he can do that. But it's been really an exemplary display of clean and elbows out racing from Kodalungu so far after the mistake which dropped him from 3rd down to 9th place. He's worked his way back up into P6. As we got Jan in the comments there saying Luke Packham in the comments there. As here he is, currently just ahead of Snoopy and Shelton as they're coming down the start finish straight once again. Also I've seen Luke's videos which he's been posting some of his comedy montages of the incidents that he's had, which I must admit gave me a bit of a chuckle. As you see Bolito here putting off to the side, so Bolito is being lapped by these guys, but very cleanly moving himself out of the way, so fair play to Bolito. Obviously he's not at the race tonight, and it happens to the best of us, but nonetheless maintaining his sportsmanship, which is all we can really ask for, to be honest. So thank you for that, Bolito, we appreciate you. But yeah, still currently Jill Silver leading this train of cars here, battling over 4th place. Always he goes a bit wide there to Jill Silver, but Remster's just a little bit too far away to capitalise on that. But little mistakes like that, and that we'll be seeing Remster being able to pounce on one of those and actually punish Jill Silver in here for those little mistakes. As Fierce Mars did join the session, but then left shortly afterwards, so those issues certainly not close to being resolved at this stage. As we can see Remster looking to the outside here of Jill Silverin down the end of the back straight. Jill Silverin goes a little bit deep. Can Remster go for the cut back here? He's going to look to the outside here. Jill Silverin covers the inside line off, coming through the 3rd to last corner. Jill Silverin still just ahead of Remster at the moment and keeping onto that P4. Remster looking to the inside into the penultimate corner, nothing doing here for him. Can't make it happen. And what's happened to Cod? Oh no, Cod's lost out to Luke, Snoopy and Shelton. So Cod is now running in 9th place. Oh, Cod must have had a mistake here. Am I imagining that, or did I see a bit of damage there on the rear end of that BMW? Let's have a quick look. think I saw, yeah, that is some damage there. Look at that, the rear sort of bumpers taking a bit of a knock. Also the front as well as actually as well. So his car's definitely had some kind of contact. I don't know if it was with another car or with the wall. I think it's more likely to be the wall because, as you can see, nobody else seems to really have any. Well, Snoopy's got a little bit on the front actually, to be fair, but certainly not as bad as Cod. I think that goes without saying. Cod's now lost out to Exeron as well. So Exeron, tell you what, he's gone very understated in this race, but he's come from the back of the pack here. Started in 20th place. He's worked his way up into 9th place. We're not even halfway through this race yet. So Exeron could maybe be a bit of a dark horse for a podium position here, as he's got this train of cars. Well, we've got Jill Silverin all the way from Jill Silverin down to Shelton. Still these 5 cars battling over 4th place. They're well behind Ericode, who's managed to skip away from this battle. But I reckon Exeron's probably got the pace over Ericode. He's certainly got the pace over these guys in front of him. But can he find a way through, or is he going to try and go for the undercut or the overcut and do things that way? Jill Silverin still just ahead of Remster, Luke Van der Street, Snoopy, Shelton going through your shot. There's Exeron on the back of these guys. Coddling, who now is falling back into the clutches of Nath, who is a lap down. Obviously, we've covered this before. Nath now looking to the inside of Cod. Cod's got to come into the pit surely this time around and get the damage repaired. If he's doing a half tank now, it's not going to be too much of a compromise for him to come in a lap or two early. Oh, bit of contact there as Nath hits him in the back. Oh, come in, Cod. Get yourself in, mate. Get yourself in. He comes in, and Nath there spinning out, and there's big contact there between those two. Nath's race was already pretty much hanging by a thread. Well, it wasn't really hanging by a thread, it was already ruined essentially, but he appears to have stopped it here, coming out the final corner, so hopefully Nath gets himself out of harm's way. He's retired the car. Okay. So that's that. But in the meantime, Jill Silverin still just ahead of Remster coming into the chicane. There's Luke Van der Street, who's just ahead of Snoopy. Shelton there still going in 8th. And then a couple of seconds back to Exeron, who's still going right now, running in 9th place. As Cod currently sat in the pits at this particular moment in time. Godling in the pits. Also the race leader Diego in the pits now as well, so he's coming in pretty much at the halfway mark here. That will temporarily give Spur Time the lead. We've got Totally Zero in the comments saying something in Dutch. Exeron's in the pits as well now, so Exeron there coming in. So Diego, Jill Silver and Exeron all coming in. Cod's now done his pit stop and is coming back out onto the track. See Diego getting off and on his way once again here. Down to the end of the pits he goes. Remster now leading this battle here for what is a net 4th place, but currently 3rd on the classification, with Jill Silverin having been into the pits to make his stop. It's now a 4-car train instead of a 5-car train, but obviously we'll be expecting that Jill Silverin will probably come out in the midst of it once all is said and done. I think it's safe to say that Diego is definitely half tanking it here, but his Spur Time also. Spur Time is staying out, so I have a funny feeling that Spur Time might actually be full tanking it here, which would mean that he'd have a much quicker pit stop. He'd have a way quicker pit stop than Diego. But the big question is whether or not he'd have the pace at the end. With Watkins Glen, to me, I think it just strikes me as a track that eats the tyres up. So I reckon he'd probably be struggling a lot come the end. So if he comes in and doesn't change tyres, he'll probably come out ahead of Diego, but Diego will be gaining hand over fist on him at the end of the race. So it's a risky strategy. I mean, last season in Tier 2, we saw Henry manage to make it work at Kota, just about, but I worked out that his strategy would have been quicker had he come into the pits. So he won the race, but he would have won it comfortably if he had pitted for tyres. But because he kept the same tyres on for the entire race, he made it much harder than it needed to be. Assetto, Remster and Shelton all in the pits here at the end of lap 17. So they're making their mandatory. Carl Marley's also in. Spare time still out there. Luke Banner Streets and Snoopy appear to be the only two from that battle for fourth that are, I assume, not half tanking it. So I reckon they probably put a full tank of fuel in and they're going the whole race on one set of tyres here. I reckon that's probably the case. So they should have the advantage over the other guys for now, with the pit stop time being a lot less. As you've got Tony Zero there in the comments saying, "Sorry Andy, I got excited when I see someone speak the same language as me on the internet." I don't blame you, mate. Don't worry, you can speak any language you want in the comments, that's fine. It's just that I won't understand it, so I'm not going to be able to respond or read it out. But Remster and Shelton have both picked up stop-go penalties here. So both of these two have gone steaming into the pits a little bit too zealously. And unfortunately for those two, they have now incurred the wrath of the race director. And they will have to come in and do a stop-go penalty here. So it's essentially another pit stop for those two. There's Snoopy coming into the pits here at the end of lap 18. So he's making his pit stop now. Spare time continuing on, so I think it's very safe to say that spare time most likely running a full tank and will come out ahead of Diego, but how far ahead and will he have the pace to be able to stay ahead of him before we get to the end of the race? When is he going to come in as well? When is he going to pull that trigger? I guess we'll have to find out, but he's doing a typical Tynus in the house strategy. Tynus is obviously our championship leader in Tier 1. And it's a typical strategy that we see Tynus doing very, very often. And we've lost the driver here, so who have we lost? Just going to quickly check and see who we've lost from the race. It's Bolito. So Bolito's retired from the race here on lap 19. So what a shame there to lose him. We've got Snoopy here, still in the pits. He's now almost done his pit stop, I think. Should be off and away in a moment. Yep, there he goes. But we're getting to that point now where I think we're beyond the stage where people are probably, where half tankers are going beyond the halfway point. I reckon now, oh, it's spare time's coming in. Okay. Well, let's have a look at spare time. Let's have a close look here and see how long he spends in the pit box, because that will tell us whether he's half tanked it or whether he's full tanked it and not changing tyres. So here he comes towards the box now. Now let's see what he does as he stops outside his garage. Right, we're back, guys. Sorry about that. I just realised that I hadn't even plugged my studio mic in before the start of the stream, so I was actually talking through my PlayStation controller, which is kind of mad. Spur time's just come out ahead of Diego. Wow, that was very, very close here. Did Spur time even change tyres? That's the thing. I mean, did he? Because how long was he in the box for?
Let's
Let's go have a quick look here, because I completely missed that as I was trying to fix my mic. Spur time, I think he must have done a no tyre change, surely, because to have come out ahead of Diego, I wouldn't have thought it'd come out ahead of him if he changed tyres, that's for sure. But Diego's currently all over him here, so I think even if Spur time hasn't changed tyres, I think Diego will be making his way through. As here we go, Diego up the inside. Is that going to be job done here for the side by side? And Diego does make the move here for the lead of the race. So Diego retakes P1, which he's had for the most of this race. And no surprise there to see. Obviously, he's had the pace over the course of this race so far. I think Spur time maybe did something to the car, but didn't do everything, because his pit stop was way less than 30 seconds, but I think quite considerably more than 5 seconds. So he did something, but didn't do the whole works. But yeah, currently Diego retakes the lead anyway and looks to be in cruise control here in this Tier 2 race here for round 3 of the season. So yeah, once again Diego reassuming the dominance that he has had here tonight, and he just needs to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes like he did last week at Hungary, which was the real undoing of him. As long as he can keep it clean for the rest of this race, he should be okay. So here we go, Diego pulling out his gap here right now over Spur time, just over a second separating these top two. Noticing on the timing board that error code is keeping extra on his toes here. DJ Ken in the comments saying, come on Chris, started P17, currently P4. He's still yet to pit at the moment though, DJ Ken, sorry to burst your bubble there mate. But nonetheless, a good performance from Crispy. He's kept himself out of trouble since the start of this race, so it'd be a strong result for him if he can continue where he is at the moment. Driving in that very fetching livery, I've got to say, that's probably my favourite, I would say, out of all the liveries out on track tonight. Really is quite a delight, that one. But yeah, Totally Zero asking what happened to Sharka Zulu. He had a stop-go penalty early on. He came into the pits for an early pit stop and picked up a stop-go whilst he was at it, so that pretty much put an nail in his chances of getting a decent result here tonight. And he was doing well as well. In the first few laps, he was in a battle with he was in a battle with Spur time actually for P2 for the first few laps. So it's a shame there to see what happened, but yeah, ultimately running in P13, he'll still score some decent points. And talking of points, somebody, aka me, needs to do the championship standings tomorrow, which I will get done. It's only taken me 3 rounds and counting, but no, I will get it done tomorrow, and that will be out on the Discord server tomorrow afternoon. So guys, fear not, I'll be getting on top of that ASAP, because it is kind of getting ridiculous now. A lot of people have been messaging me on the Discord saying, you know, where are the standings? What's happening, Andy? You know, are we doing a championship this season? And the answer is yes, we definitely are. I just need to set up. Basically, I'm doing the standings myself now. I'm doing it on a little app called Formula Game Companion, which is designed for the F1 game, but actually you can customize the app so that you can create your own point systems, and you can basically add your own racing series into it. So it's really easy to use. I recommend it to anybody who wants to you know, just run a a championship. He's not very good with spreadsheets, not very good at using Excel, you know, not that technical, just prefers to use simple stuff that works. Yeah, Formula Game Companion, it is definitely something I'd recommend. Yeah, echoing what I was saying there, good performance so far, certainly from Chris running in third place. He's 7 seconds clear of Dave's also yet to pit, but these guys obviously running full tanks, so their pit stops won't be too long, which means they might come out in the thick of some of the battles going on behind them. They're about 30 seconds ahead of Carl Marley. Well, Day is. Chris is further ahead than that. I reckon Chris could probably slot in the top 10, and I reckon Dale probably be in P11 behind him. Potentially, I mean, Chris could be as high as P10, P9, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it all pans out. But Chris, nonetheless, is coming into the pits here at the end of lap 23. Day continuing on for the time being, so Day 666. Now the only driver still yet to pit here in this round 3 of the GT3 Championship at Motive here at Watkins Glen tonight. So Chris there in the box. Day still going out there at the moment. And Diego's gap to spur time is just over 4 seconds at this stage. Exeron still just ahead of Aerocode. Luke van der Street's closer to the back of Aerocode than he has been in recent laps as they're coming down towards the chicane. But a little bit too far back to make anything happen just there. Sharka Zulu's just ahead of Lexi Mate as they're coming through the final couple of corners here. Coming towards the end of what's lap 22 for them. Kristen in the pits is now off and moving. Kodalungu's already gone round turn 1, so Chris, is he going to lose out to Sharka Zulu? That's going to be a big one here. I don't know, he might. Yeah, no, he is, I think. Sharka Zulu's going to be round. Yeah, Sharka Zulu's just going to get him, so is Lexi Mate as well. So Chris will be coming out in 13th place here after his pit stop. They obviously still yet to pit. Aerocode here still all over the back of Luke van der Streets, but can't seem to find a way through just at the moment. Snoopy is in the pits here at the end of lap 25, so I don't know what's happened to him, but he's clearly run into some kind of issue here. He's currently sat in the pit box, so hopefully he can get that on top of that and get himself moving as quickly as possible. Still watching the battle here between Luke and Ericode, which is still about half a second at the moment, as Luke was a little bit wide onto the grass there coming out of the third to last corner. He's still just ahead of him at this point. Diego convincingly clear of spur time, 8 seconds now the gap on Diego's fresh tyres, and you feel that Diego's got this in the bag unless he makes a mistake here in the closing laps of this race. This should be job done here for our man, the number 15 Ferrari. You see a stop-go penalty being awarded there for Snoopy for, I assume, speeding in the pits. So you have to come in and come in again and give it another go. Erico is still got Luke all over the back of him. In fact, has Luke got ahead of him? I think he might have done, you know. Luke is now ahead of Erico, so that's for P6, so that must have happened there coming through the start of the middle sector, because at the first sector checkpoint Luke was still behind him, so there's been contact there. Ericode's dropped well off of the back of Luke. There's Luke, there's Ericode just going through your shot. So now there's a 3.6 second gap between those two, as you can see them coming to the end of the back straight now. Day is really improving, says Totally Zero. He definitely is. I think Day only started playing the game last season, so he's come on leaps and bounds since we saw him make his inception here at Motive. Currently running in third place at the moment, driving in the treble 6 Aston. He's currently got Jill Silver in hunting him down. Obviously Day's still yet to pit, so he will lose places once he does come in. But nonetheless, a quiet but consistent and solid drive from him. See a comment here from Jan saying, promising Luke van der Streets that if he gets on the podium then €250 will be his. Well, Luke, if that's not incentive, I don't know what is. Currently though, Yanni is, well, he's a net, technically he's 8 seconds off of a podium, because with Day having to come into the pits, he will drop positions to all of these guys. So Jill Silver in as 2 seconds clear of Exeron, and Luke's currently 6 seconds behind Exeron. So as it stands, or 7.5 now, so as it stands, Luke would need to, he needs to basically finish, he needs to lap about a second a lap quicker if he were to be able to get onto the podium. I think that might be unlikely, but never say never, I guess. It could very well happen. As Jill Silver in there wide coming up at the penultimate corner, but back on the circuit once again here. As we can see, is that Day coming in? It is Day coming in, so the last driver to come in and make his mandatory pit stop here, as we've got just over 10 minutes left to go here in this race. So Day driving through the pits and up towards his pit box. Here we go, the next one closing up onto the back of Jill Silver, and you can see just under a second separating these two as they're coming into the chicane.
I don't know what you're saying.
Next one still just
Could you speak properly,
I'm not
please?
talking to you. Next one still on the back of Jill Silver, and you can see just under half a second between these two at the moment. As they're coming through the middle part of the lap, you can see also Erico's closing up onto the back of Luke here.
I need to go to sit down somewhere.
Are you okay now? Are you alright?
No, I'm not alright.
Poor little thing.
It's a bit of a shock.
What's a bit of a shock? Oh yeah, I know. Codling are also pretty close here on the back of Day as they're coming into the bus stop chicane. Day kicks up a bit of the grass there. But Day, I tell you what, he must have had a very quick pit stop to come out in 8th place. It's a really good drive from him, you've got to say, a very impressive job indeed.
I don't want this to be up here again tomorrow.
God, as Cod still can't. Oh, Cod looks around the outside here. Day holding the inside. Oh, a bit of contact there between the two of them. As Day they're squeezing him out, and very aggressive driving there from Day 666 to hold on to the position there. Still running in 8th place at the moment. Cod all over him here coming into this next section. But Day holds on by the skin of his teeth there for that 8th place for now. Luke van der Streets here has lost out to Erico. Erico's up into 5th place. As Exeron is still on the back of Jill Silver in here, coming up through the S's. What's wrong? What's going on?
It's just not worth asking you to do anything, is it?
Well, what do you mean? Jill Silvering's got ahead of Exeron here up into 3rd place. So obviously now he's gone from 20th to 3rd place, and Exeron, you've got to say, what a performance from him. He's done absolutely superbly here tonight at Watkins Glen. He got a horror show of a qualifying session, but since then he's just gone on with the job. Oh no, he goes. Yeah, that's Jill Silver in there wide, and that's the job done. Back again for Exeron. So yeah. Jill Silver in there with a bit of damage now on the front of the car as well. Cod right on the back of Day as they're coming down towards the bus stop. Day's going to defend the inside line. Can Cod get around him here? No. Tucks back in for the time being. Day doing a really good job of defending this when you consider the fact that he's on worn tyres as well. Yes.
What time?
5 until 2.
Because you know...
What?
Marion's coming.
Oh, excellent. Oh, Cod there, a bit wide onto the grass.
You won't forget, will you?
And you can see here now joining the battle is Snoopy, who is a lap down on these two. So Snoopy wants a little bit of this action as Cod goes a little bit wide. Can Snoopy get the run here down the back straight? Oh, my boss is ringing me. Sorry about that, guys. Just had to quickly have an argument with my nan. But we're here about to start. Well, I think we're actually on the final lap. Oh, it might be close. Are we on the final lap here? Oh, I'll tell you what, it's going to be tight. We can see the race leader Diego here, just coming through the final corner. So this could actually be it. Depends. Is Diego feeling nice to the guys who have got something to chase in the final part of this race? He is, clearly, because he started the final lap. So he's decided to carry on. He had the option there to slow down and run the clock out, but he's elected to continue the race on for one more lap here. So Diego had everybody's fate in his hands and has decided to throw a lifeline to those chasing a late position gain, and has decided to add a bit more stress to the guys who are trying to defend. But having said that, there aren't too many of those situations right now. Jill Silverand seems to be struggling with a bit of damage and is falling back into the clutches of Ericode, so this could benefit Ericode hugely here at the end of this race. Cod is pulling away from Day, so no dramas there. Shaka Zulu, though, closing on to Day, so Day could lose out to Shaka Zulu here on the final lap. Chris has got just under a second back to, just over a second should I say, back to Lexi Mate, who's running in P12. But yeah, our race leader here has got half a lap left to go. He's just coming up on some traffic, which would appear to be Shaka Zulu. So he'll be lapping that traffic in just a few moments' time. And Diego, you got to say, you know, the first couple of rounds of this season, Spa and Hungary, littered with errors. You know, he had the pace, he had pole in both. He took his third pole from 3 races here earlier tonight, and I was thinking to myself, I'm not convinced yet, Diego. I need to see you leading the race on the final lap to be convinced. But here he comes. He's well and truly proved that the naysayers wrong here with a superb performance at Watkins Glen. He's going to take a very dominant victory here as he takes the checkered flag over 20 seconds clear of spur time. What a drive from Diego, and I'll tell you what, he definitely should be in tier 1 with that sort of pace. That is astounding there from him as spur time is coming through the final corner, and it looks like it's going to be a P2 here for him, as he is a long way clear of Exeron, but Exeron started from P20. But spur time comes over to take second place here in this race. Chris, Leximate and Remster have all finished the race in 11th, 12th and 13th places respectively. Shelton comes over to take 14th. Exeron is just coming through the final corner now, so he will take third place. And what a job from Exeron when you consider the fact that he started from 20th and last place. He gets himself onto the podium, so he's done absolute bits here. Jill Silverand's going to hold off Erico just by the skin of his teeth there as they come over the line in 4th and 5th places. Luke Van der Streets comes over to take P6 in the end. Carl Marley's just coming through the penultimate corner and into the final corner now. So it'll be a P7 here for Carl. Oh, Day there sideways. Oh, massive bit of moment there for Day. Sharksuit on the back of him here. Kodalungu though going through the final corner. It's going to take 8th place here in this tier 2 race for tonight as he comes over. It'll be Day next over the line, who's going to take P9. Sharkazuli there, the final driver over the line on the lead lap to complete the race in P10, and that is that then for the tier 2s here, guys. Stay tuned because we'll be back on for the tier 1s very, very shortly. Yeah, don't go anywhere. But Diego, spur time and extra on your podium finishes. Well done to those guys. I'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are back here for the Tier 1s for the GT3 Championship tonight at Motive for round 3 of Season 5 here on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 5. And we have got a very special new addition to the Tier 1s tonight. It is this man here. And to be fair, this has been a couple of weeks in the making, I won't lie to you, after his qualifying performance at Spa and how quick he was last week at the Hungara Ring. I actually invited him to race in Tier 1 last week. Despite the fact that his consistency was a little bit off last week, I actually invited him to race in Tier 1 because of how quick he is. And obviously this is a week ahead of his absolutely spectacular performance tonight in Tier 2. So it was a good thing actually that I did send him that invitation last week, because he's more than earned it tonight. So yeah, welcome to the big league, Diego. We hope you enjoy your stay. You're a little bit too quick for the Tier 2, so here we are. This is one of our new drivers here, because obviously we did need to fill a few spaces in Tier 1, as we did have, there were a few vacancies. Obviously we had a few people drop out unexpectedly. Actually, I was expecting there were a couple of guys that I thought were going to re-sign for this season that didn't. That I think a few people have moved to the sim zone, and others have just stopped racing altogether. And so ultimately we lost a few, but we've still got 20 car grids, you know, most of the time, or near to 20 cars. I think we've had 38 across both tiers tonight, which isn't too bad at all. But yeah, basically Diego getting an early promotion down to the fact that we do need to fill a few spots, and there are a few more spots that we need to fill, which we will hope to fill over the course of the next couple of weeks. But yeah, welcome along, Diego, and all the best to you for the rest of this season. But Tinus in the house is currently setting the pace here in this qualifying session. His actual fastest time. Do you know what? I'm just going to double check this and see what the pole time was in Tier 2, because I think that's not as quick as what Diego did in Tier 2. Unless I'm very much mistaken here, which I could very well do. Chris saying in the comments, hopefully I can try Tier 1 soon. You got to be in the top 6 in Tier 2. Or you've got to be exceptionally quick, like Diego is, to get into Tier 1. But you know, if you're consistent over the course of a season, then top 6 is definitely not out of reach. Diego's fastest time in Tier 2, his pole time was a 45.2. So Tinus is half a second quicker than Diego's time. But you know, half a second off of the Tier 1 pole time, that's incredible. That's absolutely superb. So you know, you can't knock Diego. That's a fantastic performance. What we saw for his pole time in Tier 2. If he can replicate that in this qualifying session here, then he would be in P3. So you know, he's done really well as Diego. But Tinus and Ludo separate by just under a tenth of a second. It's good to see that Ludo is really taking this fight to Tinus at the top of this leaderboard, as we're watching him coming out of the last corner up towards the line. Can he improve on his current personal best, which is a 44.8? Doesn't look like he can for the time being. But Ludo here definitely showing that he's intent on keeping Tinus on his toes here tonight, and Tinus is not going to have an easy run of it at all, that's for sure. Diego's gone into 3rd place, so predictable there, almost matching his Tier 2 pole time earlier tonight. As I said before, the only driver from Tier 2 to make a step up to Tier 1 prematurely this season, as Tinus has just improved his provisional pole time very slightly, but not by very much at all. Still on a 44.7, but he improved it by about a 100th or 200th, somewhere around that sort of region. So yeah, very, very small little gains here from Tinus in the house, but gains nonetheless. And we've got plenty of comments coming in here on the stream. So many that I almost don't want to read them. I'm joking. Loads of comments, absolutely loads. So I'm just going to go through them whilst we're coming towards the end of the qualifying session. So yeah, Glenn saying nice work, spur time, error code, and Chris, obviously his good friends there, voicing his support for Jan, saying well done. Thanks Glenn, was awesome fun, says error code. C Lickham saying hi, do you know how to download this game? I'm on PS5 but it's not popping up. You got to type in, if you type in Assetto on the PlayStation Store, it should be there, definitely. Never mind then, he says. Oh, well, no, you know, I had to take a break from the comms. Sorry, mate. Do apologise. That was a great race. Go get him, says Silicon Bang. Obviously, saying to Glenn there, getting behind his man in the comments. You got Chris in the also saying Wow, that was a fun little battle at the end. Glenn saying, we'll give it a go as always, saying to Zillabang, or otherwise known as Error Code. Chris saying, well done, Spur Time and Zilla. Raki says in the comments, well done, Chris. Forgot my shout out to you. Oh, Raki, how could you? DJ Ken, massively proud of Chris. Very well done, mate. Now I have to. Now we have Glenn to try to match that performance. Well, Glenn, I don't know if he's raced Watkins Glen. It's obviously Watkins Glen. Glenn, oh my god. Oh, you should be good at this track, mate. This is your namesake circuit. This is. You got no excuses. Oh, Ludo's gone into the top spot here, 44.6. So he's gone 15 thousandths quicker than Tinus. Completely missed that. Ludo's now top of the pile here. So brilliantly done there from him. Good luck, Rakis, Glenn and Scud, says Chris. We're also thanking Glenn there for his support. Spur Time there thanking Glenn for his support. Well done, Zillabang. And Error Code says Spur Time could match you. Only chance was to not change tyres, says Spur Time to Diego. We've got GGJ in the comments saying, good evening. Missed out on the previous race due to my league race. Oh, what a shame, mate. Good to see you in the comments nonetheless for the tier 1s. Supporting us as always. GGJ is actually our championship leader on a Friday night for the F1 league here at Motive. So good to see him checking out what we're doing on other titles as well. Thanks, Spur Time, says Error Code. Good luck, Diego, from the tier 2 lads. Yeah, he's going to need it because they're very quick in this division, but he's currently doing making a good transition here, matching his pace from tier 2. Currently third on the grid as things stand. The invite for Diego to join tier 1 was actually on the table last week, but he said to me he wanted to do one more week in tier 2, and then if he went well at Watkins Glen, then he would do the tier 1 afterwards as well. Obviously from next week onwards he will be just a tier 1 driver, so he will not be doing tier 2. This will be his final tier 2 race, but good to see that the tier 2 guys are supporting their promoted driver. As we've got Luke in the comments saying, damn, Diego's going to smash it in tier 1 too. Yeah, currently P3. He's only half a second off of Ludo's time already, so he's definitely jumped up and really done it very well indeed. But we've got Adam Shelton there. I believe that's AJ Shelton, it must be, saying, thanks for the first race with you guys. Was happy to stay out of trouble and aim for the top 10, but unfortunately stop-go ruined it. Those stop-go penalties, I'll tell you what, they are absolute, they're kicks in the teeth, they really are. I reckon a drive-through would more than suffice with teaching drivers not to speed in the pits. As Ludo there getting a big spin and going off onto the marbles, but he's still in provisional pole position. Guido Christ is currently the only driver in the top 10, aside from High Grade, who's almost finished his session, but has just got over the line to do one more lap. But he's the only other driver other than High Grade in the top 10 who's still on a lap. He's currently 7/10 off of the fastest time. Can he find 7/10 and put it on pole? I think that's unlikely. Can he find 2/10 and put it onto the second row? That's anyone's guess. And right now, we're going to ride with him here as he's coming through the final few corners here on his lap that he's currently on. We've got 20 of you currently watching the stream. Guys, do smash the like button if you are enjoying. Let's get the video to 20 likes. There's no reason why we shouldn't have 20 likes on the stream right now. As Guido Chris there, a bit wide going through the penultimate corner. Did he get an invalidated lap time there? I think he might have done. He might have got away with it. Hits the wall a little bit coming out the final corner, and that will have definitely been an invalidated lap as he slows it down over the line and doesn't improve. What about the other guys? Lowell 3000 comes over the line, doesn't improve on P16. Scooter pulls in the pits. He's not going to improve on his lap either. Caprigi is just coming down to the end of the back straight. So he'll be the last driver, I think, to finish a lap because Scooter Paul's already finished his lap. But yeah, Chris saying, now you're a good, fast, fair racer. Adam Shelton, I haven't raced in 6 months and thought pits was 50 miles an hour. Oh, Adam. Kev saying, good luck, guys. Have a good, safe race. Oh, Kev said, is he not? Oh yeah, he is racing. I was thinking for a second he was watching the stream and wasn't racing. Obviously, he's saying to his fellow racers there, yeah, no, I get it now. Will be a tough one tonight, says Robert Rolonsky there, Roby. Zillabang, Erico, great community here at Motive. Great job. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. GGJ, is Jazzman not racing in Motive anymore? No, he is. He will be racing next season. He'll be back next season. He's just taking one season out because he's gone to visit relatives in his homeland of South Africa. Because I believe he lives in the Middle East. But he's gone to visit family, so he's currently not racing at the moment, but he will be back. He's told me he'll be back in May. That's what he said, he'll be back out on track. So we look forward to welcoming him back. But in his absence, Ludo and Tinus are kind of left to battle it out tonight. And so far this season, Tinus has taken 2 wins from 2 rounds. So he's been dominating this championship so far in the absence of his old rival. And it'd be great to see Tynus take a championship, because to be fair, he's kind of lived in Jazzman's shadow. In the seasons that they competed together, it's been very difficult for him to string together a championship push, because Jazzman's always been, I wouldn't say dominating him, but he's always been that little bit quicker than Tynus has, or that not a little bit quicker, but that little bit more consistent. And obviously, you know, with Jazzman not being here, and Tynus is on Jazzman's level. Do you know what I mean? They're both on the same level. I wouldn't say Jazzman's on a level above him, but I'd say he's just that tiny bit quicker, a tenth quicker or so, and generally that gives him that slight advantage. But this season so far, Tynus has been dominating, and who knows, with Jazzman losing a season and Tynus getting that one extra season of practice here, he'll have a chance to battle. Luke van der Streets has jumped in the session here. Luke, you can stay in the session, mate, but I'd rather you didn't get involved in the action on the track, because obviously, you know, if anything were to go wrong, then we wouldn't be able to excuse it. Sorry, mate. No offence at all intended whatsoever. Oh, okay, looking forward to that, says GGJ. Maybe Ludo can challenge the championship leader as well. Jill Silver in Tier 2, good race. Congrats, Diego, Spur Time, and Exeron. Best of luck, folks, says DJ Ken. So here we are then, guys. We are moments away from the start of the Tier 1s here for the GT3 Championship at Motive on ACC. I'm just going to quickly run and grab a drink, because my throat's starting to dry up a bit, and I want to be able to give it my best. So give me 1 second, and I'll be back in a moment. Yeah, guys, right, I got myself a drink of water, so the vocals should be a little bit more stronger and more consistent, and hopefully I won't have to take any breaks during this next hour of racing. But we've got the Tier 1 out on track here tonight for the GT3 Championship here on ACC on the PS5. This round 3 of an 8-round season here for Season 5. Got 19 drivers out on the track, including a newcomer to Tier 1 in the shape of Diego, who took a very dominant win earlier tonight in the Tier 2 race, his final Tier 2 race probably ever. In the very unlikely event that he gets relegated, it might not be, but I don't think that's going to be happening, and at least not until maybe Season 30, when we might have a ridiculous number of quick drivers. But I think for the foreseeable future, he's definitely got his place in Tier 1 settled, starting P3 for tonight. Was obviously on pole in resounding fashion in Tier 2 earlier on, but he's with the big boys now. He's got to really mix it up with some of the very, very best here on the PlayStation platform, and it's going to be difficult, but all the best to him. As we've got all the guys in the comments saying good luck all to Adam Shelton there, getting behind all the Tier 1 drivers. Good transmission and great race to the drivers, says Jill Silver, and thank you, mate, appreciate it very much. We've got Eric Code also saying sorry for the bump, Jill Silver on the last lap, guessed you might have had damage. Racky, Scud and Glenn, come on boys, says DJ Ken. Thanks Jill Silver, appreciate it, says Spur Time. Right, just going to share the stream on Coach Dave and Aris Drive, so we can get a few more heads on the stream, a few more people checking us out here live on YouTube, because obviously, you know, people want to join the leagues. We have got spaces still. We have actually got spaces in Tier 2. So, you know, if people want to check it out, if you're watching for the first time, be sure to go to www.motiveracing.com, and you can join our Discord server by going to our website link. That's how you can get your ticket to Out on Track. But we've got leagues on ACC, Project Cars 2. We've got the PS4 and 5 leagues for that one, and also F1 as well on the PS4 and the 5. So yeah, plenty to get involved with here at Motive Racing as we're coming around the final couple of corners here, and we're about to go racing here for round 3 of this season. because I need to take a big swig of water here. So I'm ready for what could be a very exciting first lap here for the first lap here of the ACC GT3 Championship Tier 1 Round 3 here at Watkins Glen. We're coming up towards the line. Ludo taking pole position by a very slender margin over Tynus, only 15 thousandths of a second between them. Who's going to be first into turn 1? Looks like Ludo's got a decent enough start. Tynus didn't get a great one. He's actually got Diego looking to his inside into turn 1. But Tynus able to close the gap, and actually Tynus here attacking around the outside of Ludo here, so Ludo's got to keep his wits about him here as they're side by side coming up towards the S's. You can see Ludo having a bit of a wiggle there, but holds on to the lead for the time being. So it's Ludo from Tynus, Diego there in third place. We've got side by side in the background here between Robe and I think Guido Christ here trying to attack on Robe as they're coming up through the right hander which leads down towards the bus stop chicane. You can see Henry in the background has got ahead of Kangi. Oh, and Robe getting sideways there, and Robe there manages to control it and avoid running into anybody, but somebody else lost it as well. So Robe and another driver there, both losing it coming down towards the chicane, which has gone absolutely horribly wrong for those guys. Robe down to the back of the pack, and who was the other driver there? Robe actually, who was the other one? 33, Epiphany, also involved in the carnage there. So Robe and Epiphany both in trouble. Who was the other driver though? Because there was somebody else who reacted to Robe and ended up losing it, despite the fact that there was no contact. Kev Sim, I think, was the other driver. So Kev Sim, Epiphany, and Robe all involved in carnage here on this opening lap, and that is not the way we wanted the Tier 1 race to start off at all here at Watkins Glen tonight. But Tynus leads ahead of Ludo. As you can see in the background there, you got Guido Christ throwing a feint to the inside on Diego, but he's nowhere near him there as they came into the braking zone. You've got Esfel there just ahead of Henry in the background, and these guys have gapped Andrew a little bit, who's running in 7th place. There's High Grade ahead of Mary Louise, followed by PS Vids. Then you've got Lol 3000 ahead of Kangi, with Raki on the back of him at the moment in a battle for what is 12th place at the moment in this race. Scooter Paul running just ahead of Capriga. Always pull there into the wall, and Capriga moves straight up to P14. Who's that lagging in the background? Glenn is lagging all over the place, really struggling with his internet here tonight. So that's definitely not going to be what he would need. But Tynus and Ludo leading the race into turn 1. Those two still having a great little fight out the front, as Raki here looking to the inside of Kangi into turn 1, but he's just a little bit too far back at the moment to be able to make anything happen here. But good little battle here from these two for 12th and 13th places. Scooter Paul in the pits, so is Kevsim, Epiphany as well. Robe he's still limping round, so Robe in real trouble here as he's bringing it into the pits at the end of lap 1. So he's only just completing the first racing lap, and the leaders are already halfway around the second lap, over halfway around the second lap. So Robe here really struggling like hell here with that obviously the damage that we saw him incur coming down towards the bus stop, coming out of the S's. But Tynus in the house leads ahead of Ludo, with Diego in hot pursuit, still right there with these guys. Guido Chris is closing on them as well here, and Henry's not too far away from them as well. What about Andrew and Esfel? Have these two swapped positions? I don't think so. I think it's still as you were between those guys. High Grade here has managed to, well, he's about a second behind Esfel, but he's gapped PS Fids by a little bit. PS Fids has now got ahead of Mary Louise up into 9th. He has got a bit of damage on the front of that BMW, so that's not going to be helping him too much at this stage. But nonetheless, PS Vids can now focus his attention further up the order. There's Tynus ahead of Ludo, ahead of Diego, as they're all coming through the final part of the lap. There's Andrew ahead of Esfel, and there's the rest of them. But here we go then, over the line to complete lap 2. And Tynus in the house is a little bit further ahead of Ludo than he was on the previous lap, but Ludo's still keeping him very much on his toes out the front of this pack. So yes, felt all over Andrew there as they're coming into turn 1. In the background, Glenn really still struggling with his internet. That seems to be on some kind of McDonald's Wi-Fi. Well, in fact, that'd be an insult to McDonald's Wi-Fi. It's looking at that. But early stages in this Tier 1 race. There's your leader, there's your second place man. There's the battle for the podium places, there's the rest of them. As we've got side by side here, it looks like Lol 3000 is moving ahead of Mary Louise here into the chicane, so that's going to be job done there for him. And up into P10 he goes. So nice move there from Lol 3000. Guido Chris still on the back of Diego, trying to pressure him. Diego's just dropped off with the 2 leaders ever so slightly here.
as they continue to dice it out here over the lead. So Ludo definitely keeping Tynus on his toes here, but Tynus taking the lead off of the line, well, not off the line but on the first lap, and since then has been controlling the race. Plenty of comments coming in here on the YouTube stream as well, almost too many to even read them out, but great to see so many of you watching right now. Luke saying, yeah, this F1 is a lot more manageable than ACC, much slower cars. What the hell is that Porsche doing? He said, in regards to Epiphany on the first lap. To be fair, I don't think it was Epiphany's fault entirely. I think it was partly down to, I think, Robe losing control of the car, coming out of the S's. And then it was a chain reaction, really. I mean, I'll have to watch it again. I only saw it live. I haven't seen any replays. So it's hard for me. I can only go by what's in my head as what happened, but you know what I remember and what actually happened, you know, could be two very different sort of scenarios, because your mind does tend to play tricks on you when you've only seen something once. So but currently Andrew's still on the back of High Grade as they're coming through the S's here on lap 4 of the race. Currently Tynus is starting to gap Ludo a little bit. Diego's actually closing up onto the back of Ludo, and so is Guido Chris, Henry as well. So these 3 guys now closing up onto the back of our second place man, but Tynus in the house now doing what he's been doing over the course of this season, really, here at Motive in the GT3 Championship. He's just pulling out his gap. He's just bossing things out the front. Caprigia in the pits right now. Robe's still in the pits, so he has not moved. And Robe there saying in the comments, disaster, got tapped from behind, not sure from who, but still need to look through the replay, so we'll figure out that out a bit later on. We've got Totally Zero there saying, oof, missed the start. No, gutting, mate. Well, you missed quite an eventful start. Robe had a spin, got together with Epiphany, I think it was, and we saw a few others sort of embroiled in the incident, got dragged into it when it was actually nothing to do with them really at all in any way. Complete and utter bystander, none of their business, and just got dragged into somebody else's mess. But currently Tynus still leading the race by just over a second and a half here ahead of Diego. Guido Chris facing heavy pressure from Henry as they're coming out of the final corner here and about to complete what is lap 4 of this race. Henry almost underneath Guido Chris there into turn 1. 24 of you currently watching on stream mode, guys. If you are enjoying, please do hit the like button, as it really does help us out an enormous amount. And if you want to get involved in the action, then go to www.motiveracing.com. As we can see, Tynus is actually Ludo's actually gained a little bit on Tynus over the course of the last lap or so. It was a second and a half at the beginning of the last lap. It's now 1.2, so it's ebbing and flowing between these two, but Ludo's pulled away a little bit from Diego. Oh, it's Guido Chris there facing pressure from Henry into the chicane, but just about surviving at the moment, holding on for 4th place. High Grade's a second and a half ahead of Andrew, so High Grade's got ahead of Andrew. Didn't actually see that one happening. Beersford's pulling away from Mary Louise, but not really gaining on Andrew at the moment. Kangi's still putting the pressure here on Lowell 3000. Raki running 4 seconds behind that battle at the moment. And Glenn there currently in the pits. Missed you totally, says GGJ. Oh, a little bromance there in the Motive Racing comments section. Who doesn't say that Motive Racing is where dreams are made? Diego is doing 45's consistency, he says Luke. Yeah, he is. He's doing a really good job in his first race in Tier 1. You've got to say, hopefully he can keep it up, because consistency plagued him a little bit at Spa and Hungary, but so far tonight at Watkins Glen, no such problems. As Kangi's going to make the move here on Lowell 3000 wide there, coming out of the penultimate corner, so Kangi there did not need a second invitation, and he is up into 11th place here in this race. Scuderia Paul there saying good luck to Raki and Glenn. Obviously Raki running in P13 at the moment, Glenn currently P16, but he's got a stop-go penalty, so he must earn that stop-go penalty within the next 3 laps. That would have been for speeding in the pits. So he's done his pit stop. He's got that out of the way, but he's gone and got another penalty whilst in the pits. Diego, driver of the day, says Luke. A bit early for that, mate. We'll have to see, but so far so good for this man here. One of only 2 Ferraris this season in Tier 1 as well. I remember back in the day we've had sort of like 7 or 8 Ferraris in the top tier at Motive, so it's good to see such a mix-up of cars. 2 Ferraris, only 2 Bentleys as well. Audi seems popular, we've got 6 Audis. BMW reasonably popular, 3 of them. I think we've lost 1, so we had 3 to begin with. McLaren, we've only got 3 McLarens. McLarens we've had lots of in the past. So yeah, real mix up in terms of the grid. Lots of different car choices being made, but no Lexuses actually, interestingly, which is a shame. No Hondas either. Trying to think what else is missing. No Lambo. Oh no, we have got Caprilia, so we've got a Lambo. Glenn nonetheless into the pits, so he's doing his stop go penalty now. Henry still can't find a way through it. Guido Christie's been battling it over 4th place for quite some time now. Andrew has got PS Fids within a second of him. Sorry, Andrew's got within a second of PS Fids, should I say. So that's now looking to be quite a close battle here. Kangi's now ahead of High Grade, or he's actually well ahead of High Grade, so I don't see what happened to High Grade. But he's lost loads of time here to these guys. So Kangi's now knocking on the door of a P9 as Mary Louise there running in 9th place at this point. PS Fids with a very battered up BMW there. It's now facing heavy pressure from Andrew as they're coming into the bus stop. Diego just under a second ahead of Guido Christ at the moment. Oh, it's Kangi looking underneath Mary Louise here. Mary Louise goes very wide there onto the grass. Kangi's going to move through. That's job done there for him. So Kangi there up into 9th place. No dramas there. Beautifully done. GGJ saying, I've already said Motive creates some great things, don't make me bring it up again. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. And it involves a I'm just going to say bread. That's all I'm going to say, bread. Luke van der Street says, driver of the day is Extron, taking P3 from starting dead last. Also Audi was stupid fast in the straight before the chicane. Yeah, definitely was. You missed me, GGJ says totally 0k. Of course he missed you. Of course he did. GGJ loving the McLaren. Hey everyone, says Joseph Adams. Welcome to you, Joseph. Good to see you. First time I think on the channel. Welcome along. I don't know who you're supporting or who you're here for tonight, or if you're watching just as a random interest, then definitely feel free to join. www.motiveracing.com. The link's at the top of the screen. It's our server name. If you fancy getting involved, glad that you're watching and hope you enjoy. But GGJ says, haha, bread, love this man. I missed you when I joined right away, says GGJ. Obviously, that little bromance, that little cute little combo going on there. Oh, wait, what? Oh, that sounds a bit wrong. Okay, no, maybe I shouldn't be calling it that. Maybe that's a bit far. Oh god, shut up. Shut up. Tinus in the house still has the lead over Ludo. They've got 4 seconds back to Diego, who's just ahead of Guido, Chris and Henry, as this battle for the final podium spot continues on. Andrew in the mix here between PS Fids and Kangi right now. As they've all got damage as well. Everybody here seems to have picked up some kind of damage. PS Fids has got damage. Andrew definitely has got damage. Kangi, I think, has probably got the most healthy looking car out of those 3. So he'll be, I'm sure, looking to try and make his way through as soon as he can. Luke saying, do the Tier 1 guys typically change their tyres during their pit stop? Yeah, most of them do. One driver that never does is Tinus. I don't know whether Ludo's planning on doing it. Diego did change tyres in Tier 2. Having said that, I mean, Tinus usually doesn't, but then again, I think tonight he probably will, because Watkins Glen is a track that generally you can't not change tyres. It's very, very difficult. So yeah, I will be surprised. I'll be very, very surprised if Tynus does that strategy here. With the track temperature as high as it is and the tyre wear around Watkins Glen being quite pronounced, I would say it'd probably be best off changing tyres. But then again, Tynus has surprised us many times over the season, so you know, it wouldn't shock me, but it would surprise me. In the meantime though, Henry has dropped off of Guido Christen a bit. Speaking of tyre saving, tyre conservationists, I mean, Henry last season, we saw at Kota in Tier 2, won the race without changing tyres, albeit, and I said this and I always refer to this because it was honestly one of the most incredible performances ever that I've seen here at Motive, but it was so unnecessary because he could have won the race by about 10 or 15 seconds if he had changed tyres. I always go back to this. You know, the performance was fantastic, but he made it way too difficult for himself. He could have very easily changed tyres and won the race by considerably more than he did that night. But yeah, totally 0k. Saying some but not all there. Joseph Adams, good luck, I believe you guys. What? But yeah, anyway, Tynus and Ludo separate by just over half a second. I'm confused. What good luck, believe, guys. Yeah, I think just saying good luck. Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you. Totally 0k said, I think you can get away with the tyre temp by manipulating the bump, decreasing the force the car puts on the tyres in the turns. To be fair, I'm not great with setups. It's never really been my strong suit. You know, I understand how downforce works. I understand tracks with lots of straights, you want to have low downforce, and tracks with lots of corners, you want high downforce. I understand ride height. You want to have it, if you want to have it low-ish around tracks with tight turns, but not too low. And I understand that tyre pressures, you want to have it between about 25 and 28, and generally if it's a hotter track, you want to start with lower tyre pressures so that then they go up, and if you've got a colder track, you want to start with higher tyre pressures so that they get to the right point a bit quicker. But essentially my knowledge of setup is quite basic. You know, what I've just described there is quite basic. A lot of people go into it on quite a in-depth level, and I'm just not one of those people, which kind of sounds ironic because I'm a commentator and, you know, I should probably know what I'm talking about, but I'm just not really, I'm not really with it. I'm by no means a technical geek when it comes to setups. PS Vids in the meantime has got Andrew and Kangi really reeling him in here, so you can see he's leading this train of cars. PS Vids obviously with damage on his car. Mary Louise there really wide coming through the third to last corner. In the background you can see lower 3000. There's High Grade and Raki, as Raki's now piling this pressure here on High Grade, and Raki's only just a couple of seconds off of P11 here, so it's been a solid drive from Raki from near the back of the grid here in this Tier 1 race. But Toby Zero said, I found that out while practicing. You are speaking magic, but I believe you, says GJ. I couldn't agree more with you, mate. You're 100% exactly bang on there. As we can see, Guido Christ and PS Vids both coming in here, so they're getting the damage repaired. Obviously, they've thought, you know what, it's probably not worth staying out any longer here. I'm surprised they didn't come in earlier, to be honest, but the damage has finally got on top of them a little bit too much, and they're now coming in here at the end of lap 10. But you've got Ludo and Tynus still battling here over the lead of the race. Not much at all between these two, but Ludo's still clinging. In fact, no, hold on. Tynus got back ahead of him, so they swap positions, and then Tynus is back ahead again. So Tynus is now leading the race once again here. Okay, that's the situation there. Raki's still pressuring the back of High Grade here for P10. It's now for P10 because obviously Guido Christ and PS Vids coming into the pits. Capriggi's also been in, so has Glenn. Kev Sim's still yet to make his mandatory in between those two. But this battle here for the lead still continuing on, but no position changes. No permanent position changes anyway. Andy, what sims do you actually play and on what rig? I haven't seen you on track ever. I play Project Cars 2. I have raced in Motive Leagues on Project Cars 2. I won our GT3 league on Project Cars 2, and I was third in the touring cars as well. I did do a few races in the Clio Cup. I won a few races in the Clio Cup as well. So yeah, I've done a fair bit of racing on Project Cars 2. ACC, I've raced in a couple of league races, but never done a full championship. The best result I had was P2 in a GT4 championship. Must be a couple of years ago now. I was second to a guy called Javier Ranz, who I think a lot of people will probably know. Insanely quick dude. He won the race by over 20 seconds, but I managed to finish best of the rest at a race around Suzuka in the GT4s, which I was actually very, very happy with. I was very, very chuffed with that. I can put it in a nutshell for you, so Tony's okay. In response to the setup talk, GGJ says, "Can we have Andy on F1 once?" Yeah, I reckon at some point I've got to just do a race on F1. If we can get someone else to commentate, maybe we can get Max and Felix to do a comms, and I'll race one race or something, just as a one-off, just as a bit of a laugh, just see how it goes. I'll probably have to practice. I'd have to spend a whole week practicing to be able to get it, but yeah, I'd be up for that. I'd be up for that for sure. PS Vids has now come out of the pits, and he's behind Diego here. So Diego running in the final podium place at the moment. But PS Vids spent quite a while in that pit box. You can see Guido Chris has come out, and he's come out actually well ahead of PS Vids. So his damage was nowhere near as bad as PS Vids by the looks of it. There's Raki in the pits here at the end of lap 12. But Tynus still your race leader, just ahead of Ludo right now. There's Diego running in third ahead of Henry. Andrew just ahead of Kangi as they come into the final corner. Battle between Andrew and Kangi still raging on. Tynus and Ludo still running half a second apart at the moment. Ludo's got a bit of a run coming down the start finish straight, but I think he's a little bit too far back coming into turn one. He's going to throw a little feint to the inside again, but Tynus has got the answer for the time being. Diego's still battling here with PS Vids, who's putting some pressure on Diego actually, to be fair. Henry's just behind these guys as well, so Henry obviously not too far away from Diego, still in that battle for the podium spots. But we'll have to just wait and see what the strategy is, because some drivers will be half tanking it, some will be full tanking it. It's difficult to know. We just have to wait and see how it unfolds. Ludo here looking to the inside on Tynus into the chicane, but nothing doing at the moment. These two have been tied at the hips though since the beginning. It's been a very, very tight battle indeed here between these guys. See Kangi in the pits here at the end of lap 13. Henry with a very, very battered up looking Audi there, so I think he must have hit the wall somewhere. is he going to come in? Because obviously we're nearing that halfway point, so even if he's half tanked it, he could put a fresh set of tyres on. They'd only be 5 minutes older than everybody else's, so what, 3 more laps older? It's not really much of a compromise. I'd say probably Henry's best chance would be to come in now, minimise his time lost, spend the extra 20 seconds in the pits or however long it'll be. Probably still be in a battle for a top 5 spot come the end of the race if he comes in now. So in he comes. But Ludo's now pulled out the gap to Tynus to just over a second here. So Ludo getting ahead of Tynus and is now actually clear of him. So did Tynus make a bit of a mistake potentially? We should all appreciate how well Diego's doing so far, says GTJ. You are absolutely right. He's been really, really superb here tonight. As we can see, he's just putting a lap there on Guido Christ. So that's an easy manoeuvre there for him. PS Vid's attacking on the back of Capriglia here. This is for position as well, P11. These guys are only 3 seconds behind Guido Christ at the moment as well. But Henry there in the pits right now. Ludo's still leading the race by just under 2 seconds here at this point. Diego there, P3 at the moment, 4 seconds off for the lead at this stage. So I reckon he's still really got probably about 3, 4, maybe 5 drivers in the battle. Man, probably not Guido Christ, but Henry's I wouldn't write out of it yet. It depends on the strategies here. It really does. But I reckon Ludo and Tynus are definitely in the battle for the win. Diego could potentially still be in it as well. He's only 2 seconds behind Tynus, but he's 4 seconds behind Ludo, and Ludo's actually pulling away from Tynus at this point as well. So I wonder if Tynus has got a bit of damage here, maybe on the underfloor, maybe on the suspension. Potentially that might be where he's having problems here. Robbie in the comments saying, yeah, that's it for me today, tough day in the office. Shame to see that, mate. Obviously our tier 2 champion from last season has had a solid start to this season, but it's not going to be what he would have needed at all. We had a fantastic result last week at Hungary as well, did Roby. Managed to come P2 to Tynus, but this week at Watkins Glen things have not gone to plan at all. And he's out of the race, and we're down to 17 drivers here for this race. Andrew in the pits here at the end of lap 15. Ludo continuing to pull away from Tynus in the house, and could we see the first non-Tynus win here in the GT3 Championship Tier 1 here tonight for this season so far? Looks like Ludo's certainly got the pace to challenge him, and at this stage he's got the pace to pull away from him. Diego there still running in 3rd place, but he's nearly 5 seconds now behind your race leader. As Kev Sim here coming into the pits to make his mandatory pit stop here at the end of lap 15. We've got Day in the comments there saying, wow, go Diego, will be impressive if he gets podium in Tier 1 too. Definitely. I think a podium's almost guaranteed at this point. The win is on the table, but as I've already said, it depends on the strategy. Because if he's half tanking it and the other two are full tanking it, he's got no chance. But it could all open up. This race is far from over, let's say that. But yeah, he's definitely doing a fantastic job. Totally Zero says you have problems with connection, right, Roby? Yeah, connection problems, Totally Zero. Might be something to do with, it might be South Africa at the moment, because everybody in South Africa is struggling with a connection. I don't know what's going on with the servers, but it could be a general issue. Because you guys are both in South Africa, right? I don't know whether that could be a factor. Maybe it's like maybe the whole country's got a problem or something at the moment. I don't know. Luke Van der Street says Diego's stream. Don't know what about it. Okay, no problemo. I played the game to server then. Yeah, very, very strange. But Caprigi there has got the Bentley of Cage making his way through behind on some traffic, which was Glen there, so they're making their way through ahead of Glen. GGJ saying, so annoying when there were connection issues. Luke Banner Streets was super weird to see you lose connection. I saw you drive through a barrier into the shadow realm. Weird issues. I'd say weird issues probably aren't as bad as a connection, because weird issues you can do something about. You can get a new wheel. You kind of know where you stand with it. With connection, there's like basically nothing you can do. It's the most frustrating thing in the world when there's nothing you can do about a problem that is literally just random. You don't know when it's going to happen. Diego though in the pits here at the end of lap 17, so pits at the halfway mark here. So I think it's safe to say that Diego's probably half tanking and changing tyres here. Can it pay off for him, or is he going to lose out with Ludo and Tarnas probably having much quicker pit stops as a result? We'll just have to wait and see how it all goes. Right then, we've got Ludo into the pits here at the end of lap 18, so race leader in. Can Tynus get the overcut, or has Ludo potentially half tanked it here? Because if he has, then Tynus will probably get the jump on him. Where is Diego going to come out in relation to Ludo? This could be very, very important for this race. This track seems fun, never driven a single lap on it though, says GGJ. I know it quite well from Project Cars 2. But yeah, modern F1 fans won't know it too well. Used to be on the F1 calendar back in the day. I mean, back before I was born. You know, we're talking 10 or 15 years before I was even born. Watkins Glen was on the F1 calendar back in the 80s, I think it was, 70s and 80s. Possibly as early as the 60s, but I know it was still around until about the 80s. Obviously couldn't use it now. Well, technically I suppose it wouldn't be too bad. Trying to think of a similar circuit. It's quite similar. It's a bit of a street circuit kind of feel to it, with the walls being so close. Albeit it is a purpose-built permanent racing facility, but it definitely has that street circuit kind of feel to it. A bit like a Montreal Albert Park sort of feel. Definitely one of those circuits. But it isn't actually a street circuit. It is actually a purpose-built permanent racing facility, as I've said. But you wouldn't think it. You know, looking at, I mean, you would, but you wouldn't, if you know what I mean. But in the meantime, Ludo has come out 4 seconds ahead of Diego, so they kind of came out in where you would expect them to be. It stayed the same. It's not really changed at all. So those two must have done the same strategy exactly, which is tyre change, fuel, top up. Nothing major, just a little bit of top up on the fuel, probably. Obviously running a half tank. See Diego there in the background putting a lap on Epiphany. GGJ says, back then my parents didn't even see the world. Were your parents even born then? How old are you, GJ? You're 18, aren't you, is it? I think you're about 18. So you're about quite a fair few years younger than me. Because your boy's 25. And yeah, I was born in 97. So this, you know, back in the days when this was used for F1 was a long time before my time. Luke says it really is. A couple of corners are really satisfying to nail, like the chicane and that fast follow through that comes after it, and the final two corners, especially the last corner when you exit it 1 millimetre from the wall. Yeah, the most frustrating part, Luke, is when you nail a lap around this track, when you've absolutely been on it and you feel great about it, and then you come through the penultimate corner and you run wide, a little bit wide onto the marbles, and you get a lap invalidated. That was the bane of my life on Project Cars 2 around this track. I absolutely hated it. Every time going through that penultimate corner that we just seen Esfel go through there, oh, it was just so annoying. That I hated that corner every time. I'd always get my lap invalidated. I'd nail the lap and I'd be feeling great about myself, and then go through that corner and it's like, no! But DJ saying started watching F1 from 2016 or so. I started watching F1 in 2007 when Hamilton came onto the scene. The first race I ever watched was the Canadian Grand Prix in 2007. It was the race where Robert Kubica had his enormous accident where he went off at the corner before the hairpin, smacked into the wall, barrel rolled across the track, hit the opposite wall on the other side of the circuit, and escaped with a sprained ankle somehow, miraculously. And Lewis Hamilton actually won his first ever F1 race that day as well. And that was the first ever F1 race I watched. I just happened to be sat in the dining room at home watching it, and I was hooked from then on. I wanted to find out when it was on next. Next race was at Indy a week later. Watched that live as well. Hamilton won his second race ever then. Started that one from pole, won the race. Yeah, that was it. That was when my F1 journey began, 2007. Whippersnapper error code 45 years old. 45 years young, I think you mean, error code. There's a LOL 3000 there in the pit still. So that just leaves Tyson House, Esfel and High Grade still yet to make their pit stops. GGJ says, I started watching Spain 2016, fell in love at that race. Verstappen's first win, remember that very well. The Hamilton and Rosberg crash. The infamous Hamilton and Rosberg crash going into turn 4. What a day, what a day that was. I was worried for a minute I might have been the oldest here. Glad to see error code is older as well. I'm sure there's people in their 50s, maybe even their 60s racing here. The oldest person I ever knew of was 74, raced on Project Cars 2. I know he's still about, but he doesn't race in Motive anymore, but I know he's still about. Not going to name any names, but yeah, you're nowhere near the oldest, let's say that. Nowhere near. Ludo crashed. No, where? No. Did he? Oh shoot, he did. Yeah, so Ludo actually, because he was 4 seconds ahead of Diego, so he's lost about 10 seconds here. Has he got damage on the car? Let's have a quick look. Let's see. He's coming into the final corner here. Doesn't look like he's got any damage, so it must have been a spin here for Ludo, but he's lost quite a bit of time here, as High Grade is now coming into the pits here at the end of lap 21. I feel young here, says GGJ. Dave says, oh good, I'm glad to see somebody in their 70s racing on the Discord. Definitely so. It's the great thing about sim racing is anybody can do it. Doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter what ethnicity, doesn't matter, you know, all these things are inconsequential. It's all, yeah, we love competing, we like the community element of it. It's just, it's enjoyable to do, and yeah, anybody can do it regardless of particulars. Luke saying I'm 32, Diego and Exron are also about that age. Yeah, you're only a few years older than me. I'm 25, and I've been sim racing, well, I've been playing racing games all my life, but I'd say I probably got serious with sim racing probably when I was about 21. Basically, yeah, I just kind of was, a bit of a crossroads. I just kind of wanted to, you know, remove a few unwelcome distractions from my life, and sim racing kind of formed a gateway, a platform to maybe nipping those in the bud and starting a positive kind of voyage of discovery, in a sense. We can see Mary Louise here right on the back of Henry. In fact, actually he's dropped it, something coming through the middle sector somewhere. You can see they're nearly 2 seconds now separating Henry and Mary Louise, so actually Henry's extended that gap a little bit. Chris saying I'm 31. Peter Nilsson 61 in September. Good to see you, Nilsson, as well. Welcome along. Said he'll be with us on the PS5 by September. Dave says he's 38. Interesting to know everyone's ages. It is actually, yeah. Yeah, it's weird to think I was 21 when I started, because obviously when you feel really young when you're 21, and then when you get to like mid-20s, it's you suddenly like realise how quickly it all goes by. Yeah, it's really weird. Sim racing really fixed problems. Just pushing that car on street tracks is amazing, definitely. Sim racing saved my life, pretty much. Saved me from bloody probably some very, very bad outcomes. But Tyler's in the house, still leading the race right now. He's got a massive gap over Esfel. Diego running in net second place. Ludo behind him. Ludo is dropping off at the back of Diego at this point. 6 seconds between Diego and Ludo at this stage. We've got Totally Zero saying, sponsored to GTJ, I'm going to come back in 10 years. I'm too young now. What do you mean? Are you going to come back onto a ACC? Do you mean? And just race on F1 for the foreseeable future? We need that sponsored Motive banner on the stream. I'd love to have overlays on the stream, but at the moment I can't, because basically I'm streaming straight from the PlayStation. I don't have my computer is a bit too broken to be able to run streaming software. So at the moment I'm just streaming it straight from the PlayStation, so I can't put any sort of fancy graphics on or overlays, anything like that. It's just all just standard. Exactly what's on the screen is exactly what you see being broadcast. You can see here that PS Fit is actually closing up onto the back of high grade here, so just under a tenth of a second between these two. High grade goes very wide there through that section. PS Fit's staying right on him here, but can't seem to just find a way through at this point. Tony Zero saying he's the youngest here, GGJ, but I won't say, but I know I am. How old are you, Tony Zero? Go on, let's spill the beans. Luke said, I guess sim racers are a bit older in general, as it's a bit of an expensive hobby. To be honest, GGJ, I would say if you want to get into ACC, I'd say you're better to learn it younger. The younger that you learn it, the better you can get at it. So I wouldn't put it off. I'd say if you want to get into sim racing instead of F1, or you want to make that jump from arcade to sim, I'd definitely recommend doing it as soon as possible. I know obviously you race on ACC on the PS4, but if you want to get seriously into it, don't put it off, just get into it as soon as you can, really. As we've got Guido, Chris and Capriga into the pits here at the end of lap 25, so that's an interesting one. So I think those two have both got damage or something. They must have had damage because impromptu pit stops there, obviously they're not scheduled ones, there's no advantage to be coming in at this stage in the race. Luke says, are Tynus and SFL not going to pit or what? Now they will pit, but they'll pit at the end. Or they'll pit as late as they possibly can. Sim race is expensive, says Totally Zero, with the wheels and the pedals. Yeah, it's not if you don't really put the investment into it. Like I just raced on a G29. I've got the pedals that come with it, standard pedals, standard issue. Literally just clamp it to the desk and that's it. I've got no rig, I've got no setup. It's just literally a plug in and play. It's really quite simple, to be honest. But some people do go above and beyond with their setup. I don't really see the need to be honest. But each to their own. Got error code there saying my son started today PS5 GT7 on a Logitech T29. That's what I'm on as well. That's what I've been on for the last 5 years as well. 10 years old, he's going to whoop me soon. Yeah, enjoy having that advantage while it lasts. Definitely. I mean, so much F1 leagues at the moment and I'd like it, but at the same time ACC has always interested me, says GGJ. I think you should just get into it as soon as possible. There's no need to wait. I think it's definitely, if you want to get into, I mean, F1 there's lots of esports, so you can get into anything. Either way, there's competitions and there's opportunities on either. But I mean, if you look at James Baldwin, for example, won a world's fastest gamer on the F1 game, made a switch to ACC. Because it's if you want to get into real world racing, then you want to do ACC, but there's plenty of opportunities on esports for F1 for sure. Totally Zero says, I know I'm the youngest, I won't say, but I know probably say in the future, a couple of months when I get older, but I know probably say in future, a couple of months when I get younger. What? Robe says, get into ACC Trust. When will the league tables be available this weekend? He says, spare time. They will be available as soon as possible, yeah. I'll be doing them probably tomorrow. Fingers crossed I'll be able to find a time to do them tomorrow. And then we'll have them up and ready very shortly. We've got Luke Van der Street saying, got the V3 pedals with a performance kit, damper, DD1 with a couple of different wheels, H-pattern shifter, handbrake on an aluminium rig. Bloody hell. Something I think I could have gone an actual something. Yeah, with that amount of money, you probably could have got the an actual racing license. 20 says I need a rig because no table high enough for wheel only. Yeah, I've got the desk which is very very perfectly positioned, so I'm quite lucky there. GJ says, geez, I want a T300 SF1000 replica. Just like the what's that? That was the Ferrari from 2020 was it? I think it was. TLCM pedals and the FGT rig. Spur times, thanks Andy. Yeah, no worries mate. Luke Van der Streets, but crashing in real life is still more expensive than my rig, so that's that. Yeah, no, you're definitely saving money in that regard. I suppose if you one little crash and that's it, it's game over, isn't it? So it's not really what you want to be doing. As we're watching a battle here between high grade and PS Fids, and PS Fids continuing to pile this pressure on. To be fair, these two not in a bad position considering the trials and tribulations they've had over the course of this race, especially PS Vids with his big damage earlier on. But currently he's knocking on the door of a 7th place finish here. If he can play his cards right, he had to come in early on for damage repairs, which would have cost him some places and definitely cost him some time. But right now he is trying his absolute best to pile this pressure on as we're coming over the line here to start lap 29 of the race. These guys, I believe, will be on the lead lap by the time that Tynus and Esfeld come into the pits. One battle that we've got to watch out for is Ludo closing up onto the back of Diego here, because both of these two are on the same strategy. They're both on fresh tyres, they both put them on a few laps ago. Gap's currently 2.8, so Ludo's definitely gaining on Diego at this stage. Tynus has obviously gone long in this race, and he was running in second before, but he was running ahead of Diego before the pit stop phases came in. Now I'm interested to know what the gap is between Tynus and Diego. I think that he's well ahead. I think Tynus will come out well ahead of Diego. I don't think that Tynus should be under any threat from Diego or Ludo. I very much doubt it. Oh, we'll keep an eye on the sector times and see. The drip on that F1 mod steering wheel is nice, says Totally Zero. Robe says Esfeld also has decent pace. Race against him in another league. Also got Eric Code saying, I wonder what age range of tier 1 is. It's probably about, I'd say probably about 13 to about 60 odd, but I can't say for sure. Hopefully he'll stay in motive, says Robe. Definitely so. We got Luke there saying Ludo is lapping 1 second faster a lap than Diego. Well, he wasn't on the last lap because the gap's now over 3 seconds, and it was under 3 seconds a few moments ago. Well, they're saying that he's just gained half a second through the middle sector, so actually Ludo gained a huge amount there coming through the middle part of the lap, but in the first sector Diego did gain, so I think that Diego has probably got his Ferrari set up more low downforce than Ludo's Ferrari. And Ludo's maybe a bit more set up for the corners because he seems to be quicker in this part of the lap, but then the first sector where it's pretty much all straights, Diego is pulling away. But closing laps here of this race, and who is going to take second place in this race? Obviously both of these two will jump Esfeld, or at least I think they will, unless Esfeld's gone very, very significantly under the radar here, but I don't think he has. I think he'll come out behind Diego and Ludo, as Esfeld's currently 28 seconds behind Tynus. Don't make me jealous, says Luke and Spare Time. Obviously those guys boasting about their rigs and their high-tech equipment here for their setups and everything. Totally Zero says, man, everyone's saying they're good rig and wheels with long names, and I can just say controller. No way. Didn't know you race. I actually know you did say that. You had mentioned that before. I did know that, and I'd forgotten it. But yeah, I was aware of that actually. I did know that, funnily enough. You had told me that before. Spare Time says, sorry DJ, built collection over the last 2.5 years. Yeah, he's just been building it and building it and building it. I suppose since COVID really. That's where most people started. For me, it started a little bit before that. Sim racing started about a year or so before COVID. Would have been. DJ says you were pretty good through controller. You're pretty good with controller, totally, going side by side through cops. When was that? I don't remember that. Amend Logitech 229s and has paid for those. Oh, he means on F1, yeah, of course. Spare Time amend Logitech 229s and has paid for the upgrades. Totally 0K confirming he's on controller, which you already knew. Luke Van der Streets, yeah, would not expect that. No, I didn't either. Until I found out a couple of weeks ago, and then I'd forgotten it again, and now I've just been reminded of it. And yeah, Totally Zero says my thumb is good. Your thumb must ache like hell after a race. Honestly, I don't know how anybody can race on a controller, even on another game, but especially on this one where it's a proper full-on sim. I mean, to me it seems impossible, but some people do it. You know, it's inconceivable to me, but some people make it work. It is crazy. PS5's looking to the inside here on high grade, trying to make a move, but just a little bit too far back at the moment. But these two separated by 0.2 of a second. Also, Andrew is keeping Lord 3000 on his toes as he's very close here, coming down the back straight. He's going to have a chance here. Andrew looking to the inside, but just a little bit too far away at the moment. He's going to look to the inside here, coming into the third to last corner, but Lord 3000 is going to go a little bit deep. Andrew's going to look up the inside. Can he get a run here? That's going to be side by side. No, Lord 3000 actually is well ahead and defends the inside into the penultimate corner here. Andrew trying to go round the outside. Lord 3000 takes the curve a little bit, and Andrew gets the move done there. Great move there from Andrew. Swoops around Lord 3000 and up into 9th place in this race. Really well done there from him. Let's go back to this battle here between high grade and PS5 as they're coming through the S's. As down this little straight they come towards the chicane. Diego saying, Luke Van der Street saying Diego's complaining on his stream about being absolutely drenched in sweat and having sore thumbs. Poor Diego. As here we go, PS Fids there has made the move on high grade into the chicane, and he moves himself through up into 7th place. So that's job done there for PS Fids. Well done there to him. As he's been on the back of high grade for a few laps and now into some clean air. Question is now, can he chase after Mary Louise, who's 5 seconds up the road? I think that might be a bit of a stretch when you look at the gap and you look at the amount of time we got left on the clock. We've probably got 2 or 3 more laps in this race, depending on when Tynus crosses the line. So yeah, PS Fit has done it, but I think that's going to be the summit of his expectations here. P7 in this race. Great move, Andrew, says Adam in the comments there. Nice, Andrew, says totally 0k. Can you mop his brow, says Luke. Come on, Racky, says Ryan Racing. Ryan Ruby there in the comments. Welcome back to you, mate. Been a long time since we've seen you. Good to see you chiming in. We've also got Luke saying a great move in future GGJ, says totally 0. Yeah, totally 0. GJ wants to know the answer there to how old Totally 0 is, but Totally 0 is not giving him anything to go on here. Doesn't want to give away his identity. The chat is pretty talkative today, says Totally 0. It is. Yeah, you guys have kept me busy. I've been trying to multitask, keeping one eye on the race and one eye on the chat. But 4 of you currently watching right now, guys. Can we get the stream to 30 likes? If any of you guys have not watched, have not dropped a like on the video already, guys, please do so, because it helps us out so much. It really does help the channel out, helps us to grow, helps us to get us to a wider audience. If any of you have not dropped a like on the video, please show your appreciation for these drivers out on track, because they've put on a fantastic show here. There's Tynus and Esfel still yet to pit, but Tynus should come out in the lead ahead of Diego and Ludo. Ludo continuing to take time out of Diego, but I think Diego should be able to hold on here for 2nd place in this race. DJ says, I came for ACC but ended up with an awesome chat. Ryan in the comments says, been busy with iRacing, getting practice for the Le Mans 24 hour. That sounds awesome. When is it? I'll definitely tune into your stream and give you some support on that one, mate. That's impressive. I know you didn't you do a 12-hour race by yourself around Spa once as well, which I thought was really admirable and absolutely crazy, but really, really awesome as well. And wasn't that for charity as well, I think? But Totally 0 says, indeed, promotion for Diego, says Robe. Yeah, we've promoted him early because he's too quick for tier 2, way too quick, as Tynus is on the final lap and he's also in the pits. So he's now started lap 34. He's now in the pit lane. Esfel will have to come in as well here. I've really no idea how Tynus Esfel have been driving for so long with old tyres and not be super slow or make mistakes, says Luke. Yeah, neither do I. They are just awesome beings. Spur Time says, night gents, I'll watch the remaining laps later. Been an awesome night and stream. Thank you, Spur Time. Good to see you. Glad you enjoyed it, and well done on your very strong result in tier 2 as well tonight, mate. Well done. Latest spare time says day 66. 29 likes on the stream. Awesome, guys. Fantastic. Thank you so much for all the support here. One more like to get to 30 likes. Can we do it? Can we do it? That'd be so awesome. But Tynus here coming through the chicane. We're on the final lap of the race. Esfel's now coming out of the pits and back out onto the track. Good night, says Totally Zero K. Ryan says 27th of May, and yeah, was my mistake, but did well there. Need to get faster, but doing 3:56s at Le Mans in race trim, so it's going well. P2 for Diego, says Luke Van der Streeks. What a madman. On his debut in Tier 1, he's currently holding on ahead of Ludo. They've come out 20 seconds behind Tynus. Esfel's not done badly here because he's got himself into P4. Didn't have the best of openings to the race, but he's not too far for podium, and maybe if he'd had a bit more of a clearer passage in the first part of the race, would have had a chance of getting onto the podium. But in the meantime, we're going to switch to our race leader here, Tynus, because he is just coming through the third to last corner for the final time here at Watkins Glen. He took the win in the opening 2 rounds of the season, obviously took the opener at Spa, followed that up with victory last week at the Hungaroring, and he's going to make it a hat-trick here this week at Watkins Glen. He's seemingly unstoppable so far here in Season 5 at Motive on the PS5. Tynus in house, up towards the line, took the win at Spa, took the win at Hungaroring, and it's a win at Watkins Glen. Fantastic job from him. He takes the checker flag, and nobody was on his level here in the final stint. Managed to make the tyres last the entire race, didn't switch them at all, and reaps the benefits. Barely suffered from any pace loss at all in the final stint on very, very old tyres around a hot track that gobbles up tyres like no tomorrow. Well done to Tynus, fantastic drive. Diego takes second place with Ludo over to complete the podium there. So Diego on his Tier 1 debut takes a P2. Well done to him. Ludo takes third. There's Esfel over the line to take 4th place in the end. I think he's well clear of Henry, who's coming through the middle part of the lap. He's well clear, in fact, of PS Vids as well, who's running in 6th place. But Henry coming through the final part of the lap, and so he'll be coming out the last corner. He's just about to put the lap on Glenn as Glenn moves aside. So Henry will come over to take P5. PS Vids has got a few more corners to go here, so he will take P6. But yeah, lots of comments and lots of action going on in here today. Everybody loving it. Great stream, says GGJ. Thank you very much, GGJ. Tony Zero says congrats, Diego. Tynus is an alien. Well done, Tynus, this day. Just one question left, says GGJ. And we all know what that is, and Tony Zero is not going to give you the answer to that one. But BS Fid's over to take P5 in the end. High Grade takes P6 with Mary Louise coming out of the final corner. Andrew, Lol 3000 and Raki have all finished a lap down. Kev Sim, Glenn and Epiphany 2 laps down. Mary Louise, the last driver on the lead lap, as he's going to just about limp over the line here. Or is he? Yes, he is, just. So Mary Louise 8th in the end. He must have run out of fuel there right at the end. But that is that then for tonight's action here for the GT3 Championship here on the PS5 Motive. Diego, driver of the day, says GGJ, and day 66 agreeing with him there. GG's all great stream, says Shelton. See you next week, he says. Yeah, definitely so. Be good to see you again. Ryan asked him, Andy, when's the PC ACC coming? Well, we were talking about getting that up and running. So if you're able to stream it to me on Discord, then I can run it on OBS. Or if you're good with OBS, then we could do the comms together. You know, I'd be happy to do it. Whatever works for you. If you want to help me out, we can definitely get that up and running. Thanks for streaming again, Andy. You did great. Thank you, Luke. Much appreciated. Totally Zero. I block if I get spammed. There's always a defence. Definitely. So, yeah. Thanks, Andy. Once again, says Dave. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Cheers, guys. Thank you. Well, what a stream that was, and really great to see so many of you. 29 likes. Absolutely fantastic. But yeah. Thanks again. We'll see you next week. Join us next week for the GT3 Championship. We'll be live at the same time as always, 7 PM for Tier 2. We will be, where will we be at? Let's just have a quick look. We will be live at the same places, same time as always, Misano. So join us at 7 PM for that one. Also, We'll be back live on Project Cars 2 on Tuesday night for the Clio Cup at 8:30 p.m. UK time, where we'll be at Silverstone International. Then we'll be back on ACC on Wednesday night for the GT3 Sprint League, and that will be at 8 p.m. UK time. That'll be at Barcelona. Following that, we'll be back on for the Touring Car Championship, back on Project Cars 2 on Thursday night, and we'll be on Silverstone on the GP circuit for that one. So first time we'll be doing the F1 circuit for the touring cars on Project Cars 2 at Silverstone. Friday we're back on the F1 game for the F1 League at 6:40 p.m. UK time, and we will be racing at. Hold on one sec while I get it up. We'll be live at Belgium, Spa, for the Belgian Grand Prix next Friday. Following that, as I said before, we'll be live at the same place as always, or same time as always, should I say, for the GT3 Championship at Misano. But guys, we've got to get off now. We'll see you later. Have a good evening. Bye bye.